Welcome to the Honest Wargamer. Welcome to the Sheffield Slaughter 2019 Day 2.
Day 2!
A match play Age of Sigmar event in the sunniest place in the world. It's February, it's sunny, it's hot. Shouldn't be. I feel sorry for the Inuits because they won't have a home soon. But not as good as the other one. No, I don't think so. So
they can cuddle up with the Giants.
Exactly.
In South Pole.
So this is round 4, Day 2 of match play Age of Sigmar. There's loads of people competing, but most importantly, you've noticed that Adam is the wrong side of the desk. You're meant to be walking around. Did you get tired yesterday?
My feet are just a bit sore, so I thought I'd just have a sit down, and then you turn the cameras on. So,
Well, thankfully we hired another Adam.
Yep.
We hired another
backup Adam. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll go to him in a few minutes. We're going to go and find out how Adam feels about walking around the world of Warhammer. WoW, as some people anachronize it. I see it all over the internet. They're like, I love WoW, and I'm like, what, the World of Warhammer?
I love World of Warhammer too.
I love World of Warhammer. That's the best. Thank you. So hello everyone on Twitch. Hello everyone on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks for joining us. It's really exciting to be here. 22 years the Sheffield Slaughter's been going.
Have you been coming for 22 years?
I have. I actually,
you don't look that old.
Pardon me?
You don't look as old. You don't look old enough to be coming that long.
Exactly. Look, it's been an amazing experience from a small boy watching people pushing around cardboard scenery and little miniature metal men, and then still to this day, little miniature men and some questionable scenery.
Yeah.
But a great experience.
Oh, it's not you can't really say it's the greatest, but it's the people in here that are making it incredible.
So for our international viewers, we're in the Davy Sports Centre. This is one of those amazing places that you don't. It's how to describe it. Imagine you're on the set of Blackadder, yeah, right. Imagine you're on that set, only not as good.
Yeah, a less good version of a great place.
Yeah. So you got, obviously, if you're one of our international viewers, you might think of us as having kings and queens, and then in the background there would have been the person sweeping Buckingham Palace. Yeah, they then would have finished sweeping of Buckingham Palace and then come and hung out in the Davy Sports Centre.
Yes, exactly.
So that is a working man's club, if you're not aware.
It's where men were turned into real
men. Where
men.
I grew up. It's how I grew up.
In a place like this.
Exactly. Right. So we've got 2 really exciting games today, which is exciting. Which is exciting. Well,
being excited is
please
exciting.
Stay tuned for this. This is almost as good as the LVO.
We're bringing you gold. We're bringing you gold on Day 2.
Are you excited about doing some commentary?
Oh, I'm really excited. Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting kind of take. Usually I'm just kind of running around, getting very small snippets of loads of different games.
And now you're watching them in detail.
And now we're really going to get a chance to sit down and get invested in a couple of games and see a bit more about what's going on.
I'm hoping you do a really good job, because you were the other day smack talking all the other live commentary I've ever seen. In fact, just reams you were writing, you were saying, look, this is what I do better, this is how I do better. So I'm a little bit I'm hoping you're able to live up to those words, because you basically said, I could do that better than anyone at any point.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much true. There's no way this is going to be a car wreck at all. It's going to be fine. It's going to be absolutely fine.
So top table, incredibly exciting game. We've got Mr. Lee Bromley with Flesh Eater Corpse. Yeah, I describe him as a narrative player, and that narrative being he has lots of alcohol, and he has 50 Jello alcohol shots, which he's going to try and convince Tom to use. Tom's using Skaven, and what's really cool about this list, it's got 10 casting values, so 10 potential to do a spell in the hero phase, 5 endless spells. Yeah. So and also both of the keyboard and all those guys. So they're on table 1. They're doing the best tournament possible. And then you've got Nikos in his continuing journey. Yeah.
So how's he been getting on? So far
he's lost 1
to
John Dale yesterday with his Skaven. Then John got beaten by Lee. So if anything, Lee's the kind of hero of the table. Yeah, so real exciting. But look, I'm excited to see how you do today. But let's go find out how one of the best looking men.
He just looks sharp today, doesn't he? Doesn't he just with his side parting under his hair? He's
just gorgeous.
Stunning man.
Let's see how one of the best looking men in Warhammer feels about having to do an entire event's coverage all on his own. Over to you, Adam.
Thanks very much, guys. And that may be one of the best looking men in Warhammer. Your words, not mine. But you guys look fantastic there at the desk. Unmuted, so that should be working. Now John's got me, you've got me, good. We're all ready to go. So in answer to the question, I am super excited to walk around the Davy Sporting Centre pretty much for the rest of today. I've got a few a few lists out there that are going to bring you slightly different stories to the ones that we were seeing yesterday. So we've definitely, on the tables I've been streaming, table 1 obviously, also with Nikos on table 2, we've seen a lot of Feck, we've seen a lot of Skaven, and that's because there's a lot of both of those here. But we're going to go and find out what the other people have brought to try and deal with those new threats. We've got the back room as well. I know there's some Sylvaneth, some Iron Jaws down there, so we may go see what James Thompson's up to there. How he's on the bottom table, I don't know, because James is a good player and it's a good list, but we'll be having a look at that. I'm just going to bring you updates of little things that I think are exciting, and honestly, it's freezing cold in Sheffield this morning, so I'm quite glad, now they've turned the radiators off since yesterday, that unlike Rob and Adam, I'm not sitting down. I'm going to get some legwork in, warm up a little bit, and hopefully see some ridiculous endless spells coming off, and hopefully seeing some Flesh Eater Courts lose a few more games, because they seem to be super fun, and we don't want them to get absolutely nerfed after that. So the round's very much started, as you can see behind me here, in the main room of the Davy Sporting Club. I always think that we ought to have a game actually up on that balcony at the back of the room there, because that would be fantastic for us to see. I'm going to check back in with you as the rounds go on. I'll try and update as quickly as possible, but I think that's all from me for now, and we're going to be passing over direct to the tables and back to your commentary box with Rob and Adam. Thanks, guys.
Hey gents, right, so welcome back. As you can see on the table there, you've got Skaven versus Flesh Eater Courts. Let's have a quick run through about who's in contention to win this. Both these guys, Smalley, thanks for subscribing. As you can see, both Skaven and Flesh Eater Courts, Tom and Lee, on 3 wins. Either of these two could potentially make it through to be the tournament winner, which winning a week out with a new book, that's pretty cool. Also you get to be the king of that battle tome, basically.
Yeah, you can be the first to win a tournament with a brand new army.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So that's
kind
of
it's
what's
your battle tome.
Yeah.
Although no matter what Lee does, obviously this is actually old Ghoul King Bill's battle tome, Flesh Eater Courts, over in America, because he won it pre-battle tome.
He's OG.
He's OG. Yeah, he's OG Flesh Eater Courts of the Flesh Eater Courts army anyway. Dylan Supervised, our Canadian / Australian co-host, is there online watching along with you guys, backing us up. Dan, I miss you and I love you. Let's hope Adam does as good a job. Are you excited to try?
I've got no chance. Dan, we miss you. We massively miss you. And yes, Scrivo did make day 2. We're really pleased about that. It was touch and go at one point.
Hey,
he had a bit much ice cream last night.
Oh, Alex, thanks for subscribing. You had too much ice cream?
No, Scrivo did. Oh, He's lactose intolerant.
Oh, wow.
I'm really glad I was not sharing a hotel room with him last night, I tell you that. So, who have we got? We've got Tom versus Lee.
No, we've got Tom versus Lee, and I'm going to run you through the lists now as we see them. I'm going to just, via the power of audio, ask John to just to make sure that table is, we can get all of that table in shot. That's going to be the key part, and he'll do that for me. So we'll see the screen adjust a bit, but he's great. Our Tugboat, we miss you too. Miss all of you. Hey, Mrs. Sneezy. Hello, everyone watching. Please leave us comments, and we'll sort it out as we go. So you got Flesh Eater Courts with Lee, yeah, and I know you've got his list. Let's talk about that first because we've seen that a lot. Nay, a yard from me is the wonderful Mr. Ben Johnson playing with Flesh Eater Courts, also with 4 Ghoul Kings. Sorry, not 4 Ghoul Kings, but 4 monsters. So there are some Terrorgeists, which is cool. But Lee's got how many? 3?
Lee has got 3. Yeah, 2. Two abhorrent Ghoul King on Royal Terrorgeists. 400 points each. They've been wrecking all weekend, haven't they? Have you had a chance to kind of have a look around the halls and see how it's all been getting on so far?
I describe them as there's an old computer game term where you can do well by literally putting your face onto the keyboard and rolling it around.
So face roll army.
Face roll army.
Right.
Sometimes affectionately described as a Sunday morning army.
Okay.
So there's been some famous proponents of Sunday morning armies. You've got over on table 3. You've got Mr. Dan Bradshaw, the current UK master, a huge proponent of a face roll army. Effectively, it's an army that do this. You take your hands, you place them in front of your chest, and you just extend them forward, and that is the tactics of using an army such as this.
Wow, okay.
Just, and maybe
Really
John,
complex,
maybe John,
really
can you cut
nuanced.
back to me a second so I can visually explain how to use an army such as this? Mr. Scrivens? Maybe you will, maybe you won't.
We'll see.
Not quite.
Never really know.
So you do this. So you take the army.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, you
I
got
can
it.
do that.
Right,
Yeah,
good,
I'm
solid
on it.
tactic. And then you. And win.
Okay,
And
all right.
win.
Yeah. All
Every
right.
Flesh Eater course player. But
We've
back to
seen
the
a lot of them.
But
as
back
well.
to the
There's
table,
quite
we
lot
have
of them
seen a lot.
here.
You've been walking around the tables. Has that seemed fair?
Yeah, absolutely seems fair. I mean, I can't really speak for the personalities of the people. You know, whether how
that's
drunk
fine.
they
It's
are,
just this.
It's just the arm, the arm extension army. Yeah.
Hello, Largo. Hello, everyone. However, he's got an abhorrent Ghoul King on a Terrorgeist, right? He has the Ethereal Amulet, which means it ignores Rect.
Right. Okay.
Right? He's got Laura. And he's got the. It's got a Gruesome Bite, which is mana trait, which is reroll hits on bites. That's really important because they do 6 mortal wounds in addition, and only natural 6s to hit. Yeah, when you can give them plus D3 attacks, and you can pile in an attack twice. You can have 12 dice to roll. Yeah, hitting on 4s, re-rolling. Yeah, which statistically means you do 12 mortal wounds before you even take into 12 mortal wounds. Before you take into account the re-rolls, which then I think means you do 18 mortal wounds average.
Is so his artifact that he's got there, the Ethereal Amulet, it's ignoring rend. Is that going to be a big thing against Tom?
No. So
No?
what's really cool about the Skaven book, and both of them coming out at the same time, is Skaven effectively is a mortal wound output machine. We'll talk about Tom's list in a minute, but it's a great question to ask, because effectively, and why Tom's list is amazing when we get to it, it's got 4 Vermin Lords, and that means he's got, as well as a Grey Seer, he has 10 casts to do in his hero phase. So you think Tzeentch, right? So Lord of Change currently is either 340 or 380. It's been a while since I've had to talk about one, and I'm over the moon about that. Right? But that's a 2-cast wizard, so it's got 2 abilities to cast a spell, 2 abilities to unbind a spell. These guys, they're 280, or they vary in price, but effectively. So what you're rocking there is you're 100 points less for so much, for the same capacity realistically. There's just 4 Vermin Lords, 4, and 5 endless spells. Yeah,
that's big. Yeah, so he's got 4 guys that are all 4 able to cast.
2 spells each.
2 spells each.
Now, if you guys have been following along with the show,
sorry, I've just interrupted you. We have just seen 3 hands colliding with mini cups in them. And what they are vodka jelly shots.
They are vodka jelly shots. Yeah, Lee, I don't know the parameters under which Lee is making people drink vodka jelly shots. Do we think that's added to his 3-0?
Sorry?
His 3 wins. 3-0 would be
3-0.
3-0 would be 3 wins, 0 losses.
Yep.
So it's wins, draws, losses. So
Yep.
if I was a 2-1-1, how would I have done after 4 games?
2-1-1.
2-1-1 after 4 games.
2 wins, 1 loss, and maybe 1 draw.
It's 1 draw, then 1. Nailed it. Spot on.
Sure.
Well, the people at home are learning as well. They're like,
okay.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Speckles, for instance, always normally a 0 and 5.
Not this weekend,
Not
though.
this weekend. He's a. So do it for me. He's a
0-0-0-1. 0-0-1? No. Is it 2?
1 win.
1.
So we start with 1. 1-2. Nailed it. Yeah.
Maths, everybody. Welcome to the Honest Wargamer.
40. John, who's in the chat and doing all the button pushing, he should be able to put the list. We've seen the handshake, and I think we're going to find out who's going first. So I'm going to rattle through the list as you hear what's happening. So, as well as the single Abhorrent Ghoul King, you have another Abhorrent Ghoul King, and his artifact is the Gurish Morshard, which is pick 1 model within 3 inches, and you roll over the wounds, and it's slain. And then he's also got the Spectral Host law from the Law of Madness. His mount trait again is weirdly Gruesome Bite. Weirdly,
That's really strange. It's almost like it's good.
Yeah. Then he's got 2. He's got an Abhorrent Arc Region. Now this is really important. He casts 2. He's got Ferocious Hunger. Now that's really important because it adds D3 attacks on all melee weapons. That's where it gets scary. And then you've got an Abhorrent Ghoul King, and then you've got another Abhorrent Ghoul King who's got Black Hunger, which is +1 attack, and then you've got another. So there's that. Then there's 2 lots of 10 Crypt Ghouls, and then there's the Royal Terrorgeist as well. So there is 1, 2, 3 monsters in his list, and he's got the battalion, the Royal Family.
And he's also got the Chalice.
He does also have the Endless Spell, the Chalice. Do you know what the Chalice does?
I'd love you to tell me.
Okay, so what it does is if any models are slain within 8 inches, then what happens is one of your units can heal. So you roll that many dice for models slain, roll them on a 4-up, they regain wounds based on that, which is obviously amazing on these monsters.
Yeah, it's almost like he's planned his list. So what we have just heard that Lee is given. We've just heard that Lee has given Tom.
Oh, I'm really excited. Let me quickly rattle through this because this is the biggest phase now. This is Tom's phase. So Tom's got Screech Vermin King. Yeah. Right. Which is really exciting. The boss of all the Vermin Lords. Yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't read the new narrative yet. It's only been out a week. I haven't had a chance to read any more. So yeah, that's what he's got. He has a Vermin Lord Warpseer, which you see all the time. Now, where Tom's body is currently. So, I can illustrate it. Don't worry about it. We can do the actual. Yeah. So here is the Warpseer. I'm pretty certain. Yeah, that hasn't changed. So the Warpseer is there. Now he's brilliant because he's got a 4-up armor save that re-rolls because he's holding a ball. Yeah. He's holding it like Mystic Meg. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Uri Geller. For international viewers, I'm trying to think of one more famous magician
that holds balls.
Jesus, turns water into wine. Right, so he holds that, and it gives him a rerollable 4+ save.
Okay.
Now, he's got the Master of Magic, his trait, which allows him to every hero phase give +1 to cast, and then his artifact is the Ethereal Amulet. So it's a 4-up, unrendable, rerollable save.
Wow.
For 260 points. Then you've got a Screech Vermin King, also really good, 2-cast wizard. You've got the Vermin Lord Deceiver. Now he's got a Skittily. Now his Skittily is an interesting one because what it does is it picks a model within 26 inches and then they can teleport outside of 6 inches as opposed to your traditional 9. That's big. So he can Skittily himself or one of the other units, or most importantly, a wizard with some scary spells.
Yeah, get them
so
in.
You're going to see this both from Moon Clan and from Skaven builds, where what they're going to do is they're going to, in the hero phase, teleport a wizard close and then cast another spell with that wizard. Doing it with the Grey Seer is particularly devastating because Grey Seer can roll 3d6 to cast a dice. Sorry, to cast a spell.
To cast a spell. Yeah.
Right.
And
so
it's a good job that that Tom doesn't have one. Oh, he's got Grey Seer as well.
He does have the Grey Seer.
Wow.
So hold on. So then here is Screech Vermin King.
Yeah.
Right there, next to that Warp Lightning Cannon. Next to that is a Corruptor. Now the Corruptor's a natural spell isn't going to come into play much here because he's got a Horde killing spell, which is awesome. Yeah, but he's still a 2-cast wizard and he's still decent. Right, really, really good. And then you've got the. Oh wait, we've gone through them all. That's all 4. So there we go. The Deceiver is on the far left-hand side, trying his hardest to get off screen.
He knows that that's a hidden bit. So Lee isn't going to be able to see that if he gets off screen. So it's going to be absolutely screwed.
That's his plan. And then he has your ubiquitous and much necessary 3 lots of battle line, so 3 lots of 20 clan rats. And then you've got the Warp Lightning Cannon here, which is pretty good. Oh, and we've already seen a Skittily. I'm almost certain that's a Skittily we're seeing already. And then the Endless Spells. Now, the Endless Spells is the key part. The Endless Spells are the key part. And if we need an update from the table, we can just ask for a repeat if that's what we need.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's all right. We're getting instructions from the table, but that one I didn't actually quite catch. We're not entirely sure who the Skittily was cast on.
No, it's okay. It was done on Screech.
It was cast by the Grey Seer onto the Vermin King.
Onto
Screech. Yeah,
onto Screech. And he has popped up at the bottom here. Now let's quickly talk about that and the spells because we're nearly finished. So he's got Geminids of Ulguish, which is massive. Now, when we talk about how to beat these armies, because that has to be a conversation we do on the Honest Wargamer starting on Monday, right? Because they are doing well. The answer is going to be that you're going to need minuses to hit against Flesh Eater Corpse. Geminids is going to do that really well.
Yeah.
That's really useful. Also reduce their movement. Shackles is going to do that really well as well. Yeah, so both of those two under spells being cast would be great. He also has the Warp Lightning Vortex. We've seen this used so well yesterday.
That in particular is going to be pretty savage against Lee's army, right?
Yeah, because it's going to do D3 mortal wounds twice. It does it as it's cast, and then it does it again in the movement phase, and then at that point it happens in every movement phase, including Lee's. So it's going to happen before Lee can move if it gets cast 3 times, which does every unit within 6 inches of a pylon. On a 4+ is going to take D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, D6 mortal wounds. If it's near any other pylon, you add +1 to the 4+. Not that it's always a 6 for D6 and never more.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jonathan Letland, this is Lee. This is Lee Bromley on 3-0. Yeah, that's right. So
3-0, which we have learnt today. We've all learnt something.
We all learned what
3-0 means you've won 3 and lost none.
And then finally, quickly go through. So he's got Geminids, he's got Vermintide, he's got Warp Lightning Vortex, which we just talked about, Quicksilver Swords, and he's got Soulslayer Shackles. Now, in my opinion, the 3 that he really wants to get off spell-wise are going to be the Vortex, because it also means units can't fly if they've been affected by that.
How long for? Is that until the following hero phase?
While they're under the effect. So you roll every hit movement phase, and then it'll last until the next movement phase. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then, so that's what that means. But Geminids is going to be really key, and I'm pretty certain. Can you see what that is? Look at this. This is the Warp Lightning Storm.
Oh.
Right, so that's going to affect every unit within 6 inches. So there, here, and here. So he's going to be able to drop their brackets down in a turn.
Oof.
Right.
That's huge. We have also just heard that that Skaven have just got 4 command points. Just generated 4 command. But what ability would that be from, Rob?
So Screech gives you the ability to get more command points, as does the Warp Seer.
Oh, so he rolled a 6 on that ability, and he's got 4 command points.
Yeah. I mean, not massively important. What's really key here is the Warp Seer, located at the top right-hand corner there. What he does is every Skaven unit wholly within 26 inches is immune to battle shock. So this chaff wall, right, is going to be quite important. We probably should talk about the mission at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. We're also just seeing, just down here, we're just seeing Geminids has just been cast.
Oh God!
So the endless spells already having a really, really big impact.
So if you've been listening to the show, you'll know the thing that I've been experimenting with myself.
You're a massive fan of taking loads.
But I think endless spells are an incredible addition to the game. I think they're fun, they're tactical, they look great on the board. But also there's a sub nuance to the gaming because of the endless spells, which I know sounds a bit odd, but the more I use them, the more I'm there's a deep level of skill here. And then also they're transferable, so I can use Geminids in my Ironjaw's army, but that means I can go and pick up a new army or try my older army out, whatever, and I can still put Geminids in my list and use it the same way. It doesn't change. And then when you're able to combine it with things like this Warp Lightning Vortex, you can do some devastating work. Geminids is now going to make them minus to hit, so he's reducing their movement and he's making them minus to hit and have 1 less attack. Now, 1 less attack's not a massive deal when you've got I'm not sure on the maths exactly, 8,700.
Literally. Okay, all right. Sounds fair.
Minus 1.
Minus 1. Oh, okay.
Minus 1. But I think while we see what spells are going to be cast, and we'll bring you back, and we watch these 10 spells being cast, we're going to find out what information the gorgeous Mr. Adam Kunis can bring from the rest of the hall.
What a guy.
Thanks very much, guys. So I've got some awesome games to report back about. I'll go through them. I've got about 8 different matches. I might find a couple more as we go, because some of them could be closing out pretty quickly. So in places of arcane power in Realm of Light, we've already seen Realm of Light having a massive effect in the game between Alex Bruce and Tony Moore, who we had on screen with his spec yesterday. Tony's given that first turn to Alex. Alex has got Drycha in there, he's got Sequitors, a Dragon Lord, and he's rolled a 6 for the Realm feature that teleports a unit. So one of those mixed order units is getting much closer to the Flesh Eater Court than I think Tony was banking on, having given that turn away. So a plan, has it gone well? We'll find out in the second battle round for sure. Just to my right here, we've got Ben Johnson himself and my Welsh teammate Andy Hughes. We've got a death off. We've got the Gristlegore Flesh Eater Courts, and I have to say they're beautiful, against Neferata, Arcane, and 60. That's right, 60 Grimghast Reapers. We hear about 30 all the time. 60 is terrifying. Ben took the first turn, and he's cast the new Flesh Eater Court's Endless spell with the horses up. It's really good for blocking the board, as we've heard previously. Andy, in response, has moved forward. He's pushed Geminids into the middle of the board, and those 3 Terrorgeists are now -2 attacks. From the looks of things as well, Neferata's come up the board, and she's got a 15-inch -1 to hit bubble, don't forget. So as frightening as those Terrorgeists were yesterday, this is about as much debuffing as you're going to get. As I'm seeing just now, 30 of those Reapers have charged the 3 Terrorgeists in the middle, including the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. So there could be a lot of carnage about to happen here. The big takeaway, of course, being Reapers can come back to life. If we're going to have another look at some of our other tables, I've been following Steve Curtis's FEC with interest. He's playing against Mike T, who we had on the stream on the 3rd round yesterday with his Legion of Blood. Steve's running, you guessed it, Flesh Eater Courts. That first turn is looking pretty cautious. Mike's got it for the top of the battle round, and all that's happened so far is an ethereal amulet zombie dragon, not of the Flesh Eater Court, has moved up onto one of the 3 objectives and scored 1 point. There's a bit of brinkmanship and a bit of kind of staring each other down with hands on the holsters of the guns there. I've had a look at Dan George's table. He's over on table 17 with his beautiful Slaanesh army. They've had a real buff recently with the new stuff in Wrath and Rapture. We don't see them all that often, but they are super powerful and super quick, and I think they're the kind of army that people tend to underestimate. The great thing there, Tom has got his Stormcast Eternals over there. He shoved the Dracolines up the table, having taken the turn, and they failed their charge, allowing Dan to respond with his Demonettes countercharging, having got Geminids off as well. And as I left the table, the exalted Greater Demon of Slaanesh herself was about to go into 3 unguarded, unbuffed Stormcast heroes over the central objective. That looks like it's going to be absolute carnage, and every time something's dying, that's getting more Demonettes onto the table. So I'm really interested to see what's happening there. We hear about stories as well. We said yesterday there are very few Gloomspite Gitz armies in representation. I've found one. It's beautiful. It's been run by Tim, pretty cheeky already, unsurprisingly enough. Tim's got these beautiful bits of terrain. I think that they're from Dark Fantastic Mills. It's one of those floating islands. So you've got a base, a clear rod, and then a thing on top. One of those terrain pieces is in John Green's deployment area. His Celestar Ballista is on top of it and has a commanding aspect over the whole battlefield of 36 inches and nothing in the Gloomspite Gitz book, save Hand of Gort, where you have to be 9 inches away and the terrain feature isn't 9 inches across. That ballista is going to make a mess of the Squig Stampede. The other amazing thing from that game, they used a Squig dice to determine turn priority, and the Squig dice, having been rolled several times to keep it on the table, when it finally landed somewhere that it was readable, the Squig dice betrayed the Squig Stampede and Stragot the Loon King himself, and the choice of turn went to John Green and the Stormcast Eternals. A couple more games that I'm looking at and really excited about. We've got Ben Cronin with his Beasts of Chaos, a very different list to the one that we're seeing up here. There's a huge block of 30 Bestigor in the middle of that. They're sitting on that central objective. He's playing against Martin Clark with his Maggot King and Kin of Nurgle. Martin's list's really interesting. He's taken basically 3 lists in one. He's got a demonic group of Plague Bearers with the Great Unclean One itself. He's then got a Vermin Lord Corruptor with Plague Monks, and he's also got the Mortal Nurgle models in there as well. So he's taken kind of the 3 bands of the Nurgle Allegiance and tied them all into one list. So I'm interested to see what happens there. My suspicion is Martin, with his resilient characters, is going to do well there. He's also able to summon stuff like I don't remember what they're called, but the Plague Bearer, the Herald. You're going to be able to get the Plague Herald in there later in game to make sure that those places of arcane power are being covered. Here's another massive play in the game. Paul Marshalsea, with his Deepkin, has turn 1 managed to find a gap and bring 9 eels in behind Declan Matrich's Legion of Blood, and Vordry is dead. Turn 1. Eels are in there. He's dead, and I'd really struggle to see how Declan's going to cover those tables going forwards. Final one that I wanted to talk about, I think that's 8. We'll find out afterwards. You let me know on Twitter if I've missed 8. Nige Borum with his Zinch is playing against Brian Carmichael. Brian's got Mixed Order, which is a love of mine. I'm covering a couple of the Mixed Order lists we've got. We've got 3 or 4 at the event. Brian's list has got 2 Frostheart Phoenixes, 2 Dragon Lords, Battle Line Compendium Spearmen from the High Elves. He's also got Bolt Throwers in there, and turn 1, the Bolt Throwers have chipped off a load of wounds from the Mega Chicken itself, the Greater Demon of Zinch. But further than that, Brian's managed to bring up 2 units of Canary Heart Renders behind the line, and as I left the table, they're in the shooting phase, and he was looking at a 3-inch charge, having rolled those 4 ups, to get into the chicken and take it down with Flying Daughters of Cain. That's all of the roundup for the beginning of round 1. I'll be back with you as we progress through, but I'm going to send you back to the guys and back to the tables to talk about what's going on. Thanks very much.
What a wonderful man. Great work there.
He's great at that. He's really good at that.
Yeah, he's like a young explorer, finding many things out. Like a young man falling in love for the first time. That's lovely. Right, look. Let's get back to it. If you just joined us, welcome back. This is Sheffield Slaughter. On table 1 is Mr. Tom Morsley with his Skaven, with 4 Vermin Lords, 10 casting values. There's a Grace here there as well. Against Lee Bromley, one of the most famous and prodigiously drunk men at any Age of Sigmar event, with his Flesh Eater Courts. A lovely man, by the way. Probably one of the nicest men in Warhammer.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah.
He's a really sweet chap.
In the first turn, Lee got to choose who goes first, and he gave the turn away to Tom. Tom, in his first turn, has had a very impactful turn, as you would expect, from someone who can cast 10 spells in the first turn.
So the Vortex is just ticking away again right now.
Yeah, so what he did in the first turn was he teleported Screech Vermin King here into the bottom right-hand corner, and then he failed to cast Dread 13, which is quite important, which is good, but it also has put a threat in his backboard. Now, Lee has got, his general is in the centre, that's there, and then he has his other character here, so that would be his other Abhorrent Ghoul King on Royal Terrorgeist, and then you have 3, so his Arc Regent and his 2 Abhorrent Ghoul Kings are all located there. So that's just kind of the layout as we see.
Okay.
So then what happened in the rest of the spell casting is we saw the Warp Lightning Vortex cast here, and that, as you just quite rightly pointed out, in the hero phase and then the movement phase, it ticks. So effectively it does damage in AoE, and as you can see by the little wound dice that you have there, you've got 5 wounds put onto the centre, onto his general, and then the others have also got some wounds as well. You've gone into Lee's hero phase, and he's starting to take them off because they heal at the start of the hero phase. So, but doing some of them is good. Now they also can't fly when that's effective to them, but it happens at the end of the movement phase, and Lee's going to get the opportunity to move them before they impact him. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
Okay, but they have ticked twice, which is just terrifying. Now, what else Tom has done in his turn is he's cast Skaven Tide here, which potentially could do some mortal wounds. He's also cast Geminids here and into here, which is also going to stop him. Make -1 to hit and -1 attack. So what he's done is basically tried to neuter his opponent's army. He didn't, and this is quite crucial, cast Shackles. Because had he cast Shackles, then potentially he could have shut down some movement. Now, Lee has got enough unbinds, quite nicely. I think Lee has something like 5 unbinds in his army.
Oh, that's
so
good.
He can play the magic game quite.
He can potentially block half of what's going on from Tom's side.
Agreed. So that's quite key. But, and this is really important, we're playing 3 places of power. So, 3 places of arcane power. So it's all about those light up objectives that you can see, the soul system. And what he's got is he's got magician vermin lords. So at the top he's got the warpseer, who's his general, the most survivable of his vermin lords.
Yeah.
In the centre you have the corruptor, his other most, and not his most, but like the other 2 are fairly standard. And the bottom left you've got the deceiver. So again, another survivable vermin lord.
And this is what Lee was really worried about. I was speaking to him first thing this morning. I mean, not only was he massively hungover, which he is, and credit to him, he's got up on a stage, so he's hired. There's a bigger risk of personal injury right there.
Yeah,
but
well done.
he's also come on stream massively hungover. But he was really worried about all 4 of these guys being able to capture a point where he hasn't got quite as many, or he hasn't got quite the strength. To potentially be able to take him down.
No, so what's really important is when he goes and captures them, he's going to have to go and stay there, and all of his damage comes from these 2 monsters who are characters. So yeah, he can go up here and take that, go there, take that. Wherever he goes though, he's then got the warp lightning cannon that can hit him, and there's a bunch of spells. Now if he gets 2 turns, I'd be tempted to kill this guy, kill the warp lightning cannon, then head back later over at the top. If he gets the double, or he can do simmer in the centre. However, if Tom gets it, he's got the potential. 3 sneaky characters here, which could potentially go and hold some objectives as well. So quite rarely, most of the time when you see this mission, Adam, what happens is a lot of people are like, oh, I've only got 2 characters, and they don't have much opportunity to go and hold stuff. This is a game of characters.
Yeah, they're both character rich.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are plentiful.
But
this is like a rack and oil.
So we're looking bottom right. As you said, this is Screech Vermin, Screech, whatever his name is. Screech
Vermin King.
Screech from Saved by the Bell. So Screech is in the back.
He's against Zach Morris here.
But how come he managed to get in? Because surely Lee would have been blocking that.
Blocking what? Sorry.
Would have been blocking some deep striking.
So no, he as we've talked about when we talked about his list, he only has 2 units of 10 crit wolves, and he gave the game away. So they are here and here. So
he left a big gap back end, and he's just snuck in.
One of the other things I think is going to be a really healthy conversation when you're talking about how you go and defeat Flesh Eater Corpse is having huge board control, 1-drop board control presence. So being able to just like flood a board with wounds and bodies, so that your opponent just doesn't have any opportunities to land. And yes, they can absolutely decimate any unit that they want to. That's just a mathematical fact. It's not even like anything else. It's just a fact. But so while they're able to do that, what you want to do is you want to feed them rubbish. So a 1-drop Harvest Moon Dryad list with just 120 Dryads, the opponent's like, yes! He's killed 30, I don't care. Because you would
I've got so many more
you
left.
Just swamp the board, which is really important. Against Skaven, that's far more difficult because they've got the range capacity to go and just delete things as they see fit from the Warp Lightning Cannon. So it's a really interesting game, and I'm not really sure what I would do if I was in Lee's place. What is really fun is going to be the priority roll. Because in the priority roll, Skaven Tide's going to move, Geminids is going to move. Lee has to try to unbind these Warp Lightning Towers, which I don't think he's going to do. And then that also affects whether or not this dragon is going to go here. If he doesn't unbind it, in his movement phase, he's going to take, let's look at the distance, right? If he doesn't unbind it, he potentially takes D3 mortal wounds. If he takes that, it means he can't fly, which means he's not going to be able to get over this rock, to go and charge that guy. So he's going to be stood out. And then he's also going to be stood next to the pylons. So those pylons
are going to pump out more mortal wounds again.
And then maybe make it so that he can't fly again over the Skull Tide. So Lee might not be able to just in any way just get to that Vermin Lord because of the spells.
Oh, we've also just heard, so not only is Lee a bit on the back foot at the moment, but he's just failed to cast Black Hunger, which is given +1 attack. So this is the Abhorrent Ghoul King, just failed to cast that. He's also just failed to cast the Chalice.
Right.
So he's really struggling to get some luck on his side at the moment. It's still really early game, and it's we have every faith in you, Lee.
Yeah, we've got that. I mean, the challenge would have been super useful. We've seen it in. I think I've seen it in every Flesh Eater Corpse list that I've seen play. It's because its ability to heal is just fantastic.
Yeah,
really, really good. And that's what it does. It heals up. So I reckon Lee is going to struggle to get past there with that. So what I would do is I would just be like, screw this, I'm off. I'm off skis, screw that warp lightning storm, and then leave him with the centre, and then go away. This guy's safe, you can go up there, go deal with that guy. Problem is the warp seer is ridiculously tough. Yeah, he has a 4-up rerollable save and a 5-up ignore, and he ignores rend. But does that matter to a model that can one-shot a whole army? Yesterday, one of these Ghoul Kings on Terrorgeist killed the Khorne Dragon.
Yeah.
400 points versus 1,200 points. Who wins?
Well, it was worse than that. It was the first round of combat, so it wasn't even like in a few rounds. I finally managed to down him. It was before the dragon even got to attack at all, or move, or do anything.
Yeah.
Just deleted it straight
So
up.
some points readjustments need doing there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You think maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
We've just seen the Terrorgeist being Lee measuring up the Terrorgeist to this Vermin Lord Screech at the back corner. And we're just wondering what he's measuring up there, what his thought process is here. He must have tried to unbind the vortex because he's had his hero fight.
But that's why it's
and he
so
must have failed
powerful.
that.
That's why it's so powerful, because if you use the Grey Seer ability, you can roll it on.
Didn't actually try to unbind them. We're just hearing that from the table. Lee chose not to unbind.
That might be
the
good
vortex.
if his plan is just to get away from it, because realistically, where it's cast, it's impactful. I've seen this actually. It's got really, really big range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, which is quite good. But I think it's got a really big range. So what I've seen every Skaven player do, we saw this in the game against Nikos yesterday, is they cast it at their opponent and then there we go. Where it's more impactful would be to potentially, although I have said that may neuter this the general Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon for 2, maybe 3 turns.
Yeah.
That could potentially do that. But so I might be wrong here. but just because you can, yeah, it's a Goldblum situation. Just because you can
doesn't mean you should.
Right? So realistically, he could have used it to threaten and keep an area safe over here or over here, so that Lee's dragons have to potentially land in it, stick within it for a turn. So even on the priority roll, and then maybe put it outside unbind as well. That would have been there's some options.
So Lee must have felt that everything else he had the ability to cast was going to be more useful than getting rid of that vortex.
It's got a lot of unbinds as well, though.
Yeah.
But this is the power of endless spells. Is because if you bring 2 wizards who you're like, I want to cast both of these spells to make my army way better, then you'd bring 4 wizards in your side, and you have 2 endless spells. That means you've got the 2 spells you want to cast, and also the 2. And this is why the Vermin Lords are so powerful as multicasters, because they effectively have got their War Scroll spell, they've got their Lore spell from the Skaven book, and then they've got an endless spell to choose from. So basically, what you're doing is you're reducing how many casts your opponent can do, and if they don't try to unbind it, you basically have got free damage on your side.
I suppose also with endless spells, you're disrupting their flow of play.
Yeah. It's endless spells is a disruption game, and Lee has played 100. Sorry, Tom. Here's. But he's also. We're also following one young man's journey through
Nikos.
There we go. So we've seen we did a Twitter poll to see who the Twitter would like to see. We had 350 votes, which is cool.
It's unsurprising that Nikos took that crown.
Yeah, it is unsurprising. A bit of hashtag podcast power there. Also, he made 9 Twitter accounts himself to upvote himself.
I heard it was 93, but the number will change, I'm sure, over the weekend.
So this is his table. Same scenario. Everyone here is playing the same. So they're playing 3 places of Arcane Power, and as you can see, there are the objectives. He's up against Nagash. He is up against a Necromancer. He's also against Prince Vordry, who's at that top right-hand corner. Nagash is in the centre, and then 5 Direwolves, 2 lots of Chainraf's Horde, and 20 Grimghast Reapers, the ever-famous. Now, he's against Sam. Sam's a lovely man. Sam decided to go first. He had the option to go first.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Nikos' list is mainly 12 Razordons. It's 70 Skinks in 7 blocks of 10. It's a Slan, who is hiding down here. It is an Engine of the Gods, who's over here, and it's 3 lots of 10 Chameleon Skinks and an Astroloth Bannerbearer. Now the Astroloth Bannerbearer is there, and I imagine he's scoring, or that's the plan, Now, you score a point for every turn you hold it. Now, Nagash is just going to sit there and hold that objective all day. Not against the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, yeah, but Nikos doesn't have one of those.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't have one of those.
No, doesn't really go in a skink army.
No, he doesn't. But what he does, and they'll be hitting on 4s, hitting on 3s, and they'll be wounding on 4s against Prince Vordry. So the big question is whether or not he's going to hit Vordry and kill him, or he's going to hit the Reapers. I personally would hit Vordry and kill him, because the Reapers, because I don't know if you know this, in Legion of Nagash, you're going to be able to bring the whole unit back for a command point.
Because why not? Why not?
Well, probably because it's not fun or interactive.
Oh,
but,
okay.
but as to that would be the whys, and the what fors. But Death need a hand. Because
credit for
you
that.
got so yeah, Prince Vordry's over there. Nagash is in the centre. He's been protected a little bit. I don't know if Sam was expecting a charge. Nikos' army doesn't charge though, as we've seen. He's a fire and fade. Nikos is very much like
he's a tactical sniper, right?
He's the Viet Cong.
Viet Cong.
Yeah, which is if you know anything about how skinks play, because there's one Saurus in that army, one. Yeah, down here, the Astaroth banner bearer. Apart from that, it's Slan and skinks. And if you know how skinks play, all they do, fire and fade, hit and move, yeah. They're just jabbing, shooting, jabbing, and then move away, and they'll teleport. So over there, Engine of the Gods, he's teleported. That's his power. That's his skill. Yeah, it's an evasion shot army. That's right.
Can't hit what's not there.
That's right, Jonathan. And hashtag the art of war. That's what you're seeing. Yeah. It's a very subtle army. Now, Nikos did lose yesterday, sadly, against Skaven, but he is on 2 wins with this army.
I've actually heard that Nikos is the reincarnated Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War.
He is.
And seeing him this weekend and kind of in any tournament, any game, he very much does embody that.
Unflappable is what he is.
Completely and utterly calm,
calculated. So I think you're seeing here, what we are seeing is just seeing the start of the shots. It does look like he's decided to work on the Reapers a little bit. I'd be tempted, I think realistically. So there's another 10 chain rafts here and the 5 dogs there. So you could potentially, and there's a Necromancer somewhere. I'd go kill the Necromancer, definitely, but I think killing Vordry is just a great choice. Yeah, just because Nikos also is set up for the double turn. Sam took the first turn, just being like, I'm going to sit on these objectives, I'm going to win the game. But if you kill Vordry, he's in a really solid place to take the turn, in my opinion, and take the game. Morning, Brucey. Hope you're well. So that I think it's looking good for him so far, but it really does depend on those Razor Domes before.
So he did go into Vordry, but he's only taken one wound. There's a lot of Reapers have obviously gone down, and the Necromancer is actually hiding in the forest in here somewhere.
So he shot into Vordry?
Yeah, he's obviously he must have split his attacks. Okay. You've gone a bit into Vordry, a bit into the Reapers.
Well, that's quite nice about the 3 units of 4 is you can really choose what you're going to do.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yesterday, Nikos made an incredible play in the first game where we saw 2 Razordons. Now, if you charge a unit of Razordons on a 4-up, they're going to be able to fire. So that would be 4d6 shots firing at a Gorgon that charged them. Do you know how many? They rolled a 6, a 6, a 6, and a 6.
Woo! That is a lot of shots.
So 24 shots came in Overwatch. So 40k fans would be like, what? So yeah, as you guys know, Nikos does our 40k show. Nikos is literally playing the only 40k army in the game.
Well, he definitely isn't playing Age of Sigmar 2. We know that. We know he just doesn't do it.
He refuses to play it. Coffee would be great. Thank you. So that's what we're looking at. But I'm surprised actually Vordry's not gone down. Maybe he's decided to reduce the Reapers so that they're less effective, which is also sensible as well, because he's going to be able to heal some in his next turn.
We're seeing more being taken on. So 10 had already gone.
Oh, okay. So
we think we've just seen a couple more go.
That could be a mistake though, because what could happen is they battle shock off, and then what can happen is Sam can bring it back. What you want to do with Reapers is you want to kill the generals. Right, you either want to kill them dead and sit on all the grave sites, or kill the generals and kill the Reapers at the same time. Again, flesh sheet courts, no problem. Everyone else, you've got to work at it. Take your head, roll it along a keyboard. Or you want to reduce them down to there's only 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That's the main tactic.
So the gravesites will be scattered around. We're just trying to work out exactly where they are, and I'm sure sure Nathan's going to find out where the gravesites are.
I think so. We are having a bit of a light issue, but John is going to sort out the image for you if that's the gravesites not an issue at all. There's a gravesite here. Yeah, there is a gravesite. The players often don't like to keep their boards clean. Look at this, you got books.
I know, we need some
cards.
tidying up.
Well, no, have you ever seen Spock play 3D chess? You just need another. Oh, John,
so
that is the wrong direction. Don't do that. What's that you've done?
Gravesite.
If you can make it really blue, then I'll feel like I'm at the LVO. Just make it. No, not like that.
Wow,
no.
Wow.
Look, John, while you work on that, let's go find out what's happening on that top table. Interesting first turn for Nikos. So this is the end of turn 1 there that we've just seen. We're leaving Nikos at the end of turn 1. That's where we are.
End of turn 1.
Right, coming back to table 1, we've actually seen where Lee's decided to move his dragons. Yeah. So he's decided to take the Terrorgeist this way, and we have seen his general and the other character. Now his general's the ethereal gem there, and his other character is going to go, I imagine he's going to go for a long bomb charge. So those are the decisions he's finally made. I think that's interesting, and really importantly, by this piece of terrain. What you don't tend to do, I imagine, when you've got flying models all the time, is you go, it's fine, there's a rock there, but I'm going to fly over it. Or you can, there's no actual rules in HC. What you do is you go, everything's like imagine it's a vertical, it depends what you agree with your opponent, but it could be a vertical distance or not a vertical distance. But effectively, you think, well, that's not a problem, I'm just going to fly, so I'm not going to have to measure. I imagine that the board is flat. Yeah, but with the Warp Gale and Warp Lightning Vortex happening, now those guys are a little less manoeuvrable. Also, you're not able to land on models, and what's really interesting here is Skaven Tide has created a barrier. So if you see this area, a dragon can't fit through, and he has to go over that piece of terrain or around that model. So actually, what Tom has done super well is he's done body blocking or he's got board control. So it's in 40k it's called move blocking. It tends to be done a lot with planes.
We don't really. Let's not call it 40.
No, but that's effectively that's what the move is called. It's called move blocking, and that's why endless spells are so powerful, especially these kind of wall styles, palisades, scuttle tide. Is you can see that people can close down these whole things. It's why the Khorne Dragon and the Dread Saurian base size choice is totally dumb, because effectively you can't play the game.
Because you just can't go anywhere.
You can't go anywhere.
You can't move.
Can't go anywhere. And then when you get to base sizes like Arcane, Maw Crushers, and you get to dragons of this size, they also are impacted quite a lot by move blocking. So you do have the capacity to control board space, then you have the capacity to just orientate where they can and can't go. Because if you wanted to look, so let's say, I'm a dragon here, and where I'm drawing on the screen, if you just listen to here, and I want to charge there. Yeah, I can't, because I can't land my base in this gap.
Yeah.
Right? Although I could be placed here and kind of be going down. And if I land my base here, I'm still not in range to do any damage.
So he's completely blocked his movement, almost.
Wow. Move blocking, you could say.
Blocking?
Yeah.
So we've
or
seen
do you want to call it block move?
So we've got some Terrorgeist screaming going on. We've had the summoning, so we've got some ghouls. You can see top right and bottom left of your picture, and it looks like we've got.
I've got to say, this is a fantastic list. I'm absolutely chuffed.
Lee's or Tom's?
Tom's. Like Lee's is a great list as well, but it's like the Flesh Eater Court stuff that I've seen so far seems to be this. Now I know that there's loads of other builds that people keep talking about, and I'm sure we'll see them at tournaments at some point. We've seen the dragons a lot. The 10 casting and all of the endless spells, I've been talking about this on the show for months. Super excited seeing this in someone who's already won 3 games and could potentially win 4. Could take out the tournament with 5 endless spells. 200 points of his army just in spells.
That's amazing. So we've got this second Terrorgeist that's done his scream now. So that's nearly all of these little guys. Know the name. Clan rats.
Clan rats, yeah, clan rats.
So the clan rats are dying, but in their
droves. But you need to individually know each clan rat's name.
I don't. I haven't taken the time. I should have. That's my failing there. So we've also got.
There's Squeak.
We've got some
Squawk. Yeah, squawk. Sklockle. Sklockle's had some issues recently ever since his girlfriend broke up with him. Yeah, but the thing is, he's a bit of a love rat himself.
I heard he changed his hair. I'm ignoring that.
Oh, well, wow,
It's a dad joke, and you're not a dad yet. Not that we know of.
Well,
We've also got
we
got some flayers that have been summoned in down the bottom right. Now, now that's good. I think it's good. Great thinking by Lee to try and combat and maybe pin Screech down bottom right.
Yeah, so Screech Vermin King is in
but
the bottom.
Screech also, is that the whole point of Screech? He's a massive threat to draw the attention. So Lee can't just go balls to the wall forwards, right?
Yeah. So
because you explained earlier how the army works is you just push your army forward.
Yeah.
Now Tom's got a problem. Tom's created a problem with that.
He's put something behind.
He's put something behind.
Wow.
So all of a sudden the playbook goes out the window.
I don't know.
How do you
both hands
return
forward,
that?
one hand back?
Oh, he's broken it. He's broken the pattern though. He's broken the pattern.
Now I don't know if anyone's got a Skaven army at home. Please let me know if this is your plan. At some point, I would put Screech Vermin King into a disadvantageous position, have him just survive, and then have a Screaming Bell charge and basically save Screech Vermin King from combat. Because then Screech will be saved by the bell. Yeah. So thanks. I mean, I was listening to you, but not really. I was like, this joke's happening.
I've got a joke.
And Israel's like, I'm subscribing for that, as 8 other people unsubscribe.
I don't know why you wouldn't subscribe.
Yeah, they're abandoned us like sinking rats from a ship.
So we've got a Terrorgeist just down here.
Yeah.
He's just made his charge into these clan rats.
So he's just a Terrorgeist. I think actually that's quite smart.
Just a Terrorgeist.
Well, no, not just a Terrorgeist.
Until this FAQ, they are not just Terrorgeists.
Scrivo not enjoying our jokes and having to listen. That was a long boo. Please don't harass the commentators, but also, yes, I don't mind being booed in any way, shape or form. I think it's fair.
We've also had the 10 ghouls charge in. You can see they've just moved just down here.
Yeah.
So they've just charged into that Vermin Lord down there.
What's nice is about the Vermin Lords is
Tom and Lee has just pulled out 11 inches. Now we knew he was
charged.
He was, of course, charged. Yeah. So he's just pulled an 11-inch charge with his ghouls down the bottom there, I believe.
So that's here, moving into there. Now that's quite because I would say so. That's the Deceiver in the bottom though. The Deceiver is solid in combat.
Right.
Yeah. He's like of all of them. So the Warbringer you would think is probably the better one, but he's okay. What's really good about the Deceiver is he can have Ren 3, which is great on his weapons. But who do I feel? Yeah, it should be fine. 10 ghouls, he would have been okay. 20 ghouls, it's a bit more of an issue. And I suppose what Lee's looking to do is just whittling down. But I think clearing these screens of Skaven is actually fairly smart.
Yep.
The Corruptor, who again is in the middle, he makes the Skaven Tide units immune to battle shock within 26 inches. So that could be important. But clearing the screens, especially as if Lee gets the double turn, means then he can just go, cool, you can't move block me as much anymore. Because obviously what Tom's been doing is he's been using the spells in conjunction with those strung out units.
Yeah.
Now if he gets the double turn, he's just like, right, I've got my movement now, I'm going to move to where I want to go, I'm going to murder the thing, and then I'm good.
So it looks like we're seeing Lee split off. He's ignoring that middle, right?
Yeah.
With that, I wonder if that's then
because
playing
he can't
into
get
why
to it.
he dispelled.
Well, he can't get to it. So, like, effectively, if you can't get there, you're not going to be able to do it.
Screw it. Go somewhere else.
Now, while we're waiting for the combats to resolve, let's jump back to table 2 because I'm excited to see what happens, and then we're going to find some stuff out on the table. Not the table, the rest of the hall. So
we left at the end of Nicholas's turn 1, right?
We did. Now the Grimgas Reapers have started to reform. So I imagine that the priority roll was won by Sam, because as you can see he's starting to do his healing rolls from the grave sites. So this unit of Grimgas Reapers, there you go, he's slowly putting Reapers back in.
Yeah.
Good eyes know where I is.
It's a really skillful ability there.
I like it, man. I like the healing. I think the healing in the Death Army is awesome. I just think the command point thing, I find that tough. but I really like the healing. I think that's really good. Puts those models back. It's really solid, especially around a character as well, or a graveside. As you can see, there's some skinks, some camo skinks, it looks like, or some normal skinks that have gone into combat there. Now that's going to be really impactful because they're not going to be able to move, but Vordry has got a shooting attack which could do the mortal wounds, clear the skinks, which means the Reapers can go in here. Now if the Reapers do go in here, I think that might be a really clever play by Nikos, because what they'll be able to do on a 4-op, they're going to be able to fire and shoot into the Reapers. Overwatch. If they do that, yeah, then he's going to lose a lot of those Reapers because he's not going to get enough back, yeah, to clear them. And then in Nikos' turn, he can kill Vordry, secure that top objective, and then he can start working on Nagash.
Oh, he's a tactical, beautiful tactical man.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Yeah, really
it's cool, right? Like, it's a bit of checks and balances. It's constant. It's difficult. It's the opposite of American democracy.
Anyway,
loads of English people laughed. We won't be laughing when we're all dying of hunger during Brexit.
Well, we've seen the engine of the gods is getting engaged up here. Not romantically engaged, unfortunately. I mean, maybe. Maybe he likes the undead guys, but he's certainly attracted them to him. So we know we've got the necromancer in there. Can we remember exactly what these...
thank you, Ageverse, for pointing out the end. Nikos is really bad at rolling priority. What's nice following one player's journey through, you're like, you know, when they're like, I came 48th, like, why? He's like, I couldn't roll a priority. And you're like, really? He's like, well, no, hold on, there's documentation of an entire...
I've got proof.
So what was your question, sorry?
So what are these guys here? These guys in the woods, they've come out of the woods now.
No, so what they are, that's the engine of the gods.
Yep.
Yeah, and Nikos has been super smart there. What he's done is put the engine of the gods here, and then he's put some camo skinks in front of him.
Oh, okay.
Right, so they've
I didn't see them initially because they must have been like faded out.
So again, he's using those as a screen, but he'll also be using them to shoot at Nagash, yeah, and start to whittle Nagash down. Now Nagash can heal pretty good, yeah, and he's fairly solid. But every little bit helps. And if you look, board space wise, his command of the board is pretty fantastic. Yeah, he's getting to choose, which is what's tough realistically for the Grand Host, is they have to effectively, in this situation, all their points. That's why Nagash, a lot of people say Nagash needs to go up in points, but if you look at this, he's trapped there, holding an objective, not clearing out things.
Yeah.
In another scenario, Vordry and Nagash together just threatens that bunker so heavily, but right now they're just stood where they stood. But
Nagash is pretty good at magic and stuff, right? So he's going to be busting out some spells left, right, and centre, surely.
Yeah.
And so he's a massive threat even where he is. But like you say, so Nikos is the one who's currently able to make the choices where stuff's happening.
Yeah.
Because okay, all right, that's cool.
Yeah. Because he's got the adaptability in his list. Now his list sometimes just lacks punch. There is some stuff out there that as much as 24 d6 shots sounds excellent. Yeah.
Does sound pretty good.
It does sound really, really good, especially when they can reroll to hit. So that's even cooler. It's just it doesn't, and it does have rend as well, because if it's within half distance, it's going to have rend of 1. So that can be solid. It just sometimes can't punch through stuff quick enough. Nikos' army is designed to fight over 5 turns, as opposed to fight in a single like a Terrorgeist will. And talking of Terrorgeists, let's get a quick recap of what we've seen on the table 1. Thank you, John. And then we're going to go to our infield reporter. But first up, table 1. Terrorgeists have cleared this unit of ghouls.
Oh, wow.
They're gone. As you can see, the ghouls in the bottom hand corner, though, they've been beaten up by the Deceiver, the Vermin Lord Deceiver.
So the Deceiver has popped them. The clan rats have just evaporated.
They have.
In one go.
They have. They've scurried away.
Wow.
Absolutely. The charge at the top against the Warp Seer was failed. That was failed, so that's quite key. And also, he's killed a lot of, but not all of, the clan rats here. So there are 3 clan rats left. So it's going to be quite important. And I think we're seeing the priority roll.
We are.
Oh! This will be really exciting. I think either player wants it, but I think either player can afford to lose it at this stage. This is going to be quite important.
This is huge. So both dice have gone in 1 cup. This is the way Lee likes to do it. So both dice
are in 1 cup. Two dice, 1 cup.
2 guys, 1 cup.
Yeah, this is what we're going. And it looks like it's a win for Lee. I think Lee Bromley
He's
may
got
well
it.
go 4-0.
Oh!
That is bananas. Like, I love Tom's list. I think this is it. It depends though, because the warps here, 4-up unrendable save, on average 18 mortal wounds coming out from this Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. That's right, on average. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
this is huge.
On
this
average.
is huge.
Yeah,
Lee,
solid.
Lee,
really,
oh.
really good. Really good. Do you know the Corn Dragon doesn't on average do 18 mortal wounds? 3 times the price. So get yourself a starter box, flesh eater courts.
Talking of
Don't
3
go to
times
Forge
the
Roll.
price,
Yeah, talking about
but
3
10 times the bang for your buck. We've got the wonderful, beautiful Adam Kunis, who's been running around the tables, and he's going to give you a fantastic update right now.
Thanks very much, guys. I am so excited to hear that Lee Bromley is potentially going 4-0. Like, forget everything else. That's what you want. That is super good news for me. There's a lot of violence going on around this room. It is bloody. People's first and second turns, I don't know if it's the scenario. I don't know if it's having had a decent night's sleep, which of course we've all had. But there is so much violence going on here. It's amazing. I'm going to update you with the 8 matches that we were looking at earlier. So that was Ben versus Andy, Dan versus Tom, Paul and Declan, and of course Nigel and Brian as well. Some of them have progressed into their second turn. Some of them have got a lot of models to push around, and we're looking at the bottom of those first turns, looking towards the priorities. And I'll update you with which way they go, because they have been pretty major. I'm going to start just to my right with Ben Johnson and Andy Hughes. This looks to have been an absolute... At the end of Ben's responded with taking that priority going into the second battle round. 30 Grimghast Reapers killed. Back 30 Grimghast Reapers. Not only are they super choppy, as we've seen, but screening your big monsters, it's huge. For my money, Andy's looking good here. Neferata's facing off against an unridden Terrorgeist to the right-hand side of the board. Ben's brought his Vargulf up. There's a lot of flying, a lot of blood. It's an amazing game to look at. It's the death off, and it's super exciting. Moving over to table 17, where we left Dan George with his Slanesh against Tom with his Stormcast Eternals. We were just about to see the Demonettes and the Exalted going in. The Exalted Demon of Slanesh there, she went into Tom's heroes, that's including his general, the Lord Arcanum on Dracoline. He is dead. Also dead is the Lord Castellan with the artifact. So Tom's really going to struggle to cover those objectives going forwards. He's got a Knight Incanter on his right flank, but she's going to really, really, really struggle. Thing is, though, when Dan charged in his Exalted Demonette of Slanesh into those characters, he also brought the Evocators into combat. So the Exalted Keeper of Secrets is dead to Evocators. The second round priority then is won by Dan George. He's taken out the characters to win the scenario already, but losing that Exalted Keeper of Secrets back. Demonettes using the command point, they've gone all strikes first. They've attacked out of sequence and taken out 7 out of 10 of the Evocators on that board. There's just not a lot left on table 17 already at the start of round 2. Table 11 tables to table 8. Steve Curtis and Mike, Flesh Eater Courts versus Legion of Blood, as we saw yesterday. That cautiousness has continued. Steve won the priority with Flesh Eater Courts, and he gave it away. We don't know if he misread the scenario, but he's no longer standing on it. That objective has just been abandoned. There's 10 Blood Knights and an Ethereal Amulet Zombie Dragon Lord trying to go into the Gristle King, as I'm calling him, the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist from the Gristle Gore there. Steve's turn. He's failed to cast extra attacks. He's failed to cast the extra saves. He's failed to cast Chalice. The Ghoul King on Zombie Dragon has completely whiffed. He's only killed 4 Blood Knights in response. He's activated again using the command point, and no further casualties. This game is really in the balance. Both players being super, super cautious because they should both be doing a huge amount of damage. Neither of them really doing anything that matters. Alex Bruce, mixed order, versus Tony the Count Moore against Flesh Eater Courts, who we saw playing Pirate Pete yesterday on stream, game 2. We're on table 12 here, so they're not out of it. Both of these guys looking for a third win of the tournament. Alex, as we know, had turn 1. He rolled a 6, and we were wondering, what unit is he going to teleport? Well, it's Dwarf Warriors, and they've gone up onto the right-hand objective. Dreicher's got a decent run and come up behind. She's going to be hard to shift off that objective, even if you're a Flesh Eater Courts, Zombie Dragon, or Terrorgeist. Alex has made an interesting point. This is the 3rd time he's played against Flesh Eater Courts already this weekend, and his other matchup was against Skaven. So he's had a really, really hard draw, but he's still up there on table 12. And he said the problem is, against Flesh Eater Courts, he thinks he's more playing not to lose than playing to win, and that's going to make a bit of a problem. But Alex has taken that priority into turn 2. The Dragon Lord is there. We've got the Sequitors coming over, threatening one of the Ghoul Kings on Terrorgeist that Tony has in his list. Over on that left-hand objective of the 3, it's looking dicey. It could go either way, depending on whether the Flesh Eaters get that double turn going into the 3rd battle round, and we'll update you on that soon. John Green, with his beautiful Stormcast Eternal, sitting on those precipices above the battlefield against Tim Fisher. The Squigs have gone in. The Squigs have rolled, with a re-roll, an 11-inch move, and then the charge. So the Boingrot Bounders have made it into the 3 remaining Celestar Ballistas that are there arrayed in the middle of John's army. They're there in part as a threat to shoot out the Loon King, shoot out the Manglers, but they're also there to protect the characters behind who are trying to foot slog it up the field onto that central objective and capture that for John. The takeaway as I was getting away, his charge. So I think John might still have the centre of that board in a way that I wasn't expecting. We'll check back in with that in a little while. Over on table 26, Ben Cronin's Beasts of Chaos were having a really tough first turn. Those 30 Bestigor against Martin Clark's Maggotkin of Nurgle. The Bestigor are cleared out. Killed in Martin's first turn by, I think, 40 Plague Monks, smashing into them like a wave. But Ben won the all-important priority, and he's brought on the Chimera and a unit of Enlightened into the Glockkin, who, when I left the table with only 1 activation having gone in that combat, the Glockkin are down to 3 wounds. And I think those Enlightened, which we saw yesterday, being so effective on table 1, I think they're going to pit the Glockkin out. On the other side of the board, though, the Bulgors, 6 of them, have made a big charge into Plague Bearers and into a Vermin Lord Corruptor, alongside 2 Chariots and a Nurgle character as well, into that Vermin Lord there. And they've not killed him. 4 wounds onto him only. I need to go and see how that combat resolved. But in turn 2, Rotigus has the middle, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. I've got 2 more games to talk to you about before I hand you back to the guys. First up, Paul Marshalsea's Deepkin. We've got to give an amazing sporting shout-out here to his opponent, Declan. Paul had deployed those eels in order to get into Vordry turn 1. He did the charge, and Declan said, you do realise that's a Zombie Dragon Lord, and Vordry is the other one. Do you want to just move the unit and fight where you thought you were supposed to be? So, what sportsmanship there from Declan. Vordry's dead. The eels are dead in return to that Ethereal Amulet Zombie Dragon Lord. But that Zombie Dragon Lord, in order to deal with the threat of the eels, bearing in mind they've already spent their mortal wound output, so they're much less of a threat in subsequent turns, he's fighting them nowhere near an objective. So I think Paul's going to be wrapping that up for the following reason. On that right-hand side objective, there is an Eidolon of the Sea in cover. He's got a 1+ re-rollable save, and the cover he's in is mystical terrain, and he's -1 to hit. So he's 1-up, re-rolling, ignoring any kind of damage on 6s. I don't see how you shift that character when your Zombie Dragon Lord is the other side of the table and Vordry's dead. Certainly the skeletons aren't going to be doing it. Final game we're going to talk about just now, Nige Borum and Brian Carmichael. The Tzeentch versus the Mixed Order. Nigel's taken turn 2, which means Tzeentch has cast all the spells, which means the Frostheart Phoenix is in a 1+ save. Sorry, a -1+ save. It's sitting there right in the middle of a unit of Zangor. He isn't going anywhere. that 4+ Witness to Destiny is making it impossible for him to be shifted by that spell output. The spells, however, unsurprisingly, with a bit of Quicksilver Swords, bit of Gaunt Summoner on a Balewind Vortex, they've cleared out the Dragon Lord from the central objective. But as we were expecting in Battle Round 1, the Super Chicken is dead. The 2 units of Heart Renders taking it out in combat. There's all to play for there, but I think Brian's quietly confident that those high elf bolt throwers are going to remove one wizard threat, one character that can contest those objectives every turn, and there's 2 Phoenixes and a Dragon Lord pretty much in reserve to come and score those 3 points as soon as the mortal wound output is dead. That's it for the end of round 1 and going into round 2. I'm going to have another look around the room, and I'm going to hand you back to the tables and to the beautiful Rob and Adam. Guys, back to you.
Hey, thanks very much, Adam. Really appreciate that. Loads of cool stuff happening around the board. Right, back to table 1. If you've just joined us, it's the Sheffield Slaughter 2019. And what you're looking at is 3 places of Arcane power. And you've got Skaven versus Flesh Eater Courts. Flesh Eater Courts got to choose to go first. And Lee gave the turn away to Tom. Tom in his first turn then cast Warp Lightning Vortex, Geminids. He skittily squeaked Vermin King to the back of the board. He then decided to hold all the places of Arcane power. He's got a Vermin Lord at the top right. In the centre he has a Corruptor. And at the bottom he has a Vermin Lord Deceiver. That's what he decided to do. Hold those. Then Lee took some mortal wounds in his turn, moved forward. He cleared out all of the clan rats that were move blocking and causing him issues. He then won the priority roll. He's got Ferocious Hunger off on this character up the top, so he's got an extra D3 attacks. He's going into the Warp Seer. This Warp Seer has a 4-up, unrendable, re-rollable save of a 5 up ignore. But don't worry, on average that single model does 18 mortal wounds. As Tom also makes no saves as well, then he's still dead on the average maths. So if that Warp Seer is alive, I want you to all do a bit of respect for Tom, because that's some great dice rolling.
Oh, it'd be some amazing dice.
Then also in the centre you've got the Vermin Lord Corruptor, who just is nowhere near as survivable. He's got a 4-up save, which is great, and he ignores damage on a 5+, great. Sadly though, this single model is potentially the most offensive model in Age of Sigmar currently.
Does he just swear a lot?
He swears and does damage. So I think it might be. We will have to check, but it might have the most damage of any model in the game.
We've actually just seen the Vortex kill 2 of his own rats. So it's kind of backfired a little bit on him. So Tom's Vortex that he put down has just hurt him a little bit. There's some...
keep going.
We're just getting some updates from the table. We're getting some broken communications right now, but as soon as we've got some more info, we will bring that to you. We can see a huge offensive effort from Lee going on right now. Top right-hand corner of the board there, we've got ghouls all over the place. And we've got some Terrorgeist screams going off right now, so we've got the shooting attacks here.
You have. You've got some those. Hello everyone. Thank you for pointing out technical issues. We appreciate your feedback, and we're trying to help you out as much as possible. Right. So,
talking of technical issues, all of the screens have just failed.
Wow.
So that's fairly big. I hope Lee wasn't relying too heavily on them.
Okay. I agree with you. Look, so all the screams have failed into that unit, right?
Yep. All Terrorgeist screams have failed.
The charges are going to end up killing those Vermin Lords.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind that Lee has got this. Lee is. We can see the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist has made the charge. You see that's just happening just top right hand corner of your screen there, and he's made it in. Oh. He was at half charge distance and still made the charge in the top right there. So we've got a real effort going on by Lee, top right. We're seeing some steely determination by Lee here in Sheffield.
Steely determination. Well, because the Steelers could work. Nice, I like that. I think that's excellent. Oh, it's okay. Right. I feel like he could potentially kill. He can't kill the Vermin King at the bottom, but he's definitely going to be able to do some damage.
He only really needs to tie that Vermin King up.
Charge here, this is really important. Are we going to see the double murder? The double murder. No, we haven't. So we have seen the Abhorrent go in at the bottom. Lee playing, as always, exactly as you expect, narratively. And he's like, I want to go and eat as many things as I can.
I'm just going to eat and munch on some rats.
Yeah. Don't worry, I can just draw the battle for it. I can audio tell you a story of the battle if that helps. The charge. I think we're seeing the charge into the centre. I don't know if it's going to happen. He needs. That looks like a 7.
6 or 7, isn't it?
Looks like a 7. Oh, we'll know if he gets it by literally drawing.
Oh, he's made it! A massive 11-inch charge.
Wow.
And the general has made it in. Oh, that's big. That is really, really big. And he's now just going to make sure that he is within capture distance, because I believe if he manages to kill that.
So again, like we talked about earlier, Tom's excellent move block in there.
Oh right.
Yeah. So what he's done is he's just gone. He's kept one clan rat alive. Yeah. Using a command point, and then he's effectively just made it so.
He might have done. There's a combat gauge going out.
Followed the normal rules of engagement. Tom would have done excellent. Unfortunately, though, because he can attack twice, which means he can pile in twice, he's going to be over here, buddy. That's how it works.
So he's going to probably attack the clan rat. Well, split his attacks maybe. Make sure he takes out the clan rat. And then the second time, pile in a bit more around the corner to do another.
I would like it if he attacked everything against the one clan rat. That would make me really, really happy. Yeah, just
I feel like Lee, in the state he's in, would make those sort of decisions. He's so balls on the table. He's just going to go for it.
Potentially, I'm not. He has to. What the thing he has to do, and this is quite key, because we do need to see how many command points he's got. Because the top right-hand corner. The warp sphere has to die, just because he's quite useful. The Terrorgeist has also got into the bottom as well. I was going to say, what's really interesting about this list is he's got Skittily from the Deceiver in the bottom left-hand corner. He also has a smaller version of Skittily on his bracer, who's located at the top in the warp hole. Now that's quite good, because what he might be able to do is move some units around, but he's not going to be able to.
So we've got the general fighting. So the general's in the middle, right? So the general is fighting now, which he does before the combat phase. This is his first.
This is his first. Oh. And then he can fight again immediately after with a command point.
But the general is at -2, though, we're hearing. So
yeah, so he was struck by Geminids during the turn. Again, why everyone should take Geminids, is what happened was Tom lost the priority, but he was able to negatively impact Lee's army. So while Lee is going forward, he's now having to do it at a minus. That's why it's so impactful.
Yeah. So he's maybe not going to be quite rumping through his army just yet, but this combat's huge, right? Because if Lee can pull this off, this is going to potentially just swing the game, even though we're only in turn 2.
I think realistically, I think that this is Lee's game now.
Oh right.
Because so what's also key is taking out the correct characters. So the Greyseer who's at the back here is safe, and he can pop through a warp hole. So he could go at this bottom here, and then he could be like, hello. And unfortunately, though, there's a terrifying Terrorgeist you can go get. What Lee is not going to be able to do is once he clears these objectives in the centre of the middle, he's then not going to be able to move. The Warp Lightning Cannon could, in 2 turns, kill one of them. So Tom's natural 3-0 advantage may actually help him win the game.
So the general is fought once. So he's got re-rolling the bites on his mount. He's now just fighting again. He's just spent 1 command point. Lee's just spent 1 command point, and he's fighting again. So he's fighting again. He's fighting again.
Wait, hold on.
Hold up.
Never.
You not.
Is it a command ability?
It is a command ability.
Why would you not just go every turn you don't generate a command point, but your general is going to just fight twice?
That's a great idea.
I mean, that's an easier way to write it.
Because you're always going to do it.
Because you're never going to do anything else.
He's definitely taken some wounds that Bowman.
But being -2 to hit, which is a key element.
It's big, right?
So what happened is the realm spell has made his character -1 to hit. So the Corruptor, the Vermin Lord Corruptor, that's what's being fought in the centre. -1 to hit.
It's dead! The Corruptor's down!
That is the most predictable conclusion to that combat I have ever seen.
I mean, nobody called it. Nobody knew it would happen.
Nobody called it. Nobody called it.
Wow.
Did you know one of those killed a corn dragon once?
I've heard it killed the corn dragon
In a
one
single
go.
round of combat.
Yeah, just before the corn dragon even got to be used.
Yeah. Do you know, maths-wise, he also kills Nagash in a single round of combat.
So he's now got the Skaven clan rat to go through.
Who's stronger, an abhorrent Ghoul King on a Terrorgeist or Nagash?
Oh.
The
I would say the abhorrent Ghoul King.
Yeah, correct.
Even though Nagash is the boss.
But yeah, that's the correct way to describe the god of death.
Yeah.
The boss of
man.
the dead.
Boss man.
Boss man of
the
dead.
undying king. So that clan rat, he didn't take down the clan rat first.
What?
So he must be within 3 inches of the objective.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. It might not actually be impactful to the game as is.
Because if he pops those other two, then it's game done, right?
Well, not potentially. The deceiver in the bottom, actually, I think has been quite clever, really, because the deceiver is deceptively powerful.
Oh!
And could do, depending on how the dice rolls go, could do for that Terrorgeist. Could at least impact that Terrorgeist.
There are 10 ghouls sat behind him, though.
Yeah, they're not impacting the game.
Okay.
Like, no one cares.
They're just a pest.
No. Do you know also, you've neglected to mention there's also this clad rat, yeah? Clunny the Scourge, that's what we'll call him.
Clunny.
Yeah, and for any fans,
Welsh?
any fans of Redwall narrative, they'll be very pleased with that. But yeah, he's there, and he potentially will never kill that dragon, because he can only do 1 wound a turn, and he can heal D3 a turn.
So we've got the other Ghoul King. So he's done 1 round of combat. He spent another command point to fight again with his Ghoul King, his other Ghoul King.
At the top.
It must be. I believe the other Ghoul King is at the top.
So
it looks like they're
effectively
focusing
what
down
that
on
command ability means is he has 4 dragons as opposed to 2.
Well, he's got 6. He's got 3 on the table, isn't he?
Yeah, so effectively he's fought with 5 dragons this turn.
So far.
Yeah.
Can he do it again on the final one?
Sorry, I'll put this into context. He effectively has used 1,600 points of output adding to the Terrorgeist. 1,900 points of output he's used in combat in this turn.
So far.
Wow. How do you feel about Flesh-Eater Courts? As a newer player, Adam.
I'm not too keen to face them, but I'm very keen to get on eBay and get some.
Get some?
Oh, it's dead! It's dead, top right. That Vermin Lord is dead.
That's a big deal, because I think, like we discussed with the dice, that on average happens every time.
We didn't call it.
No, it's just...
we didn't know that was going to happen.
It's just a mathematical certainty.
It was only just, though. It was a really close... there was probably only a few mortal wounds spillage.
Well, no,
so that was close.
The mortal wounds, ignoring, which is done in addition with only the bite attack of the beast, on average, do that, irregardless of the Ghoul King's attacks nor the claws.
And he's taken the mount
in
trait.
In addition, by the way, it means not also the dual attacks. And their which the rend doesn't matter. So when I say in addition, I mean literally only rolling a couple of 6s is the conclusion of that combat.
And he's re-rolling hits.
He is
re-rolling. He's got
hits.
Mount trait, which is allowing him to re-roll these hits.
He is. Yeah, the command ability allows the mount to fight again too. Because he's like mush.
We've got some retreating, we've got some tactical advancing in the opposite, well actually in the forward direction. Yeah. But the Vermin Lord has just retreated out of combat.
Egressing.
Not progressing.
Egressing. Which is a solid tactic.
It's pretty apt because we're up north, aren't we? Egressing.
Yeah. But it's very deceptive of him. I know. However, look, there are some ghouls here. We have to be aware of those. So that's going to have no impact.
Okay, yeah.
So I hope you're aware of that. So this objective is his. Now, what's important is the Warp Lightning Cannon could potentially, in 2 turns, because it can just wipe these guys. Wipe 1, wipe 2. Could potentially be game.
Are we probably going to see Lee move his Ghoul King at the top right here, this one here? Are we going to see him going in to this Warp Lightning Cannon, do you think?
No, because then he leaves the objective. But you might see the ghouls go over just to lock it down.
Just to tie it up so they can only shoot them. Yeah. You can't shoot out of combat in AOS 2, right?
Absolutely. And he hasn't also scored this bottom objective, so it's going to be 3-2. going into Tom's second turn.
Right.
And Tom still has scoring units because it's 3 places of Arcane Power. He's got the Grace here. He has the he has the Corruptor here. Oh, OMG Kim. Thanks for the bits donation. This is a
OMG I'm
in
Kim.
every sense. Yeah, I can't say that well, but thank you very much. It is. Welcome to some T-Sports coverage. I don't want to say I invented the term, but I did.
Well, so you do want to say it because you just said it.
Well, that's the thing. I often say things I don't want to say by saying I don't want to say this. But let's go look what's happening on table 2.
But let's have a look at table 2.
Let's see what's happening. There we go. Nikos' journey through the Sheffield slaughter.
It's looking a lot less colourful top right-hand corner of this table, though.
It is looking.
I'm not liking the look of that.
So yeah, Vordry is in. The Reapers though are dead. There are no Reapers, or there may be.
I was going to say there looks like there's maybe a couple.
There may be 2. So they're dead. So Vordry's still not dead, and Nagash is gone. And there was an Engine of the Gods there, and now nay,
rip.
Yeah, R.I.P. that young man. So you've got in the bottom left-hand corner you have a Skink Star Priest, and he's scoring the points for Nikos. Right, currently he's safe. Obviously, Sam won the priority roll into turn 2. Is what he did, and we're in Nikos' turn 2 now, and we're seeing the movement of these guys. We've still got enough Razordons. It'll be interesting to go find out how many runes are left on this on Prince Vordry at the top. Because if he does take out Vordry, then that's going to be that top right-hand objective for him as well. Because the Slan is here at the bottom of the board. What he'll be able to do is teleport.
Oh!
Yeah. He doesn't even know to draw a line because he's just going through a little wormhole, and then he'll pop here and he'll be like, "Hello, I am the Spacefaring
I
species.
hold this.
I am the front people of the future."
What's holding the middle objective right now?
The middle objective is currently being held by maybe the Necromancer, but I think no one. I think what Nagash has basically done is he's gone, right, I'm going to kill that and I'll go back.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be held by no one.
That makes sense, because I think there's other objectives you can control even though you've buggered off and left them behind. But not this one. You have to stay within 3 inches.
Yeah, you've got to be like, this is my gold, yeah, and I'm going to buff it up.
Mine!
And the longer you stay, the more points you get.
Ah, okay.
Right, so if you hold it for 2 turns, you get 2 points as opposed to 1 turn.
So it's not on the second turn, it's how many turns you have.
How many turns you've held it. So that Skink Star Priest at the bottom is actually quite impactful because that's going to score 2 points for Nikos' turn. And then next turn, if he gets a priority roll, it's going to score 3. So that single little skink at the bottom is going to have generated 6 points on his own.
Ooh.
Yeah? He is the Star Priest of our dreams, praying to the heavens.
It's the Star Priest we need.
Yeah, which is why you're seeing Nick create a little barrier here. Nagash is actually fairly slow, unless he casts Amethyst Sign Pinions, in which case he starts whomping like the beast that he is. But he's created a little line to keep the skink alive, because the skink alive is probably going to mean that the game is going to go towards Nick, because he'll get to an unassailable point.
Yeah. But if Vordry is still holding that top right hand,
so Vordry, I think he's banking. He needs to die. I think he's banking on murdering Vordry at the top.
Right,
he's
and then doing the slam.
Because he has committed most of his points up there. Losing the Engine of Gods is a big deal. He lost the Engine of the Gods because that was summoning. It was mortal wound output. It was really cool. But maybe he put it there as bait to get him out of the way. So I find that quite interesting.
It would be really interesting if we can get Nathan to just check what is holding that central objective. Because if Nagash isn't holding that, he was holding it turn 1. He's run away. He's not scoring that. So even if he goes back, he's going to start turn 1.
I can just tell you with my eyeballs. Yeah.
So he's definitely not scoring this right now. He's not scoring that middle objective.
Promise you.
That's an interesting move.
Yeah. Guys, we don't have access to the list because they were all handed in today. Well, no, handed in the morning. Normally, before we go to events, obviously we go and write them up with the wonderful help of people like Tristan Gray, who's one of our moderators in the chat, or Scriver, no one knows Wargamer. So what we will do eventually is gather the list, and we'll stick them in links in the YouTube videos if you're watching back on demand, so you should be able to see. That should be easy to do. Eventually, everyone will just put their list on Honest Wargamer, and then we'll do the coverage.
Oh, that would just be a wonderful world that's going to be.
Way.
We're going to love being in that.
That's why we built the website, right?
It's almost like there was a purpose for it. Yeah, we can see Nick is really bolstering down that bottom left-hand objective there. He's moved a lot more.
And this is he's got what's called defense in depth.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell me about that, Rob.
Well, it's effectively just multiple screens or multiple lines, so being used for defence. Nick heard we were talking about him, so he decided to kick the camera stand.
Shut up.
Yeah, he said, "Shut up! Don't tell him. Don't tell him my tactic." So a defence in depth is effectively you've just got redundancy in your defence. So instead of one screen, he's got two screens, and then even then he has another screen here because Nagashi's base potentially can't fit beyond there. So even when he charges and moves round, he might not be able to squeeze past.
Now, a lot of players that would almost be accidental, but Nick is the type of player that absolutely will have measured that and thought about that, right?
Yeah, he's got 7 units of 10 schemes as opposed to big blocks for intentionally reasons like that, which is quite useful. It really helps with morale checks and a bunch of other stuff to make those things work well. And he's still got a unit. He's got quite a few schemes here as well. I feel like Vordry's going to die. Because we haven't yet seen the shooting phase, and it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Razordons left. So that's still 12d6 shots going into Vordry. I reckon it could work. Unfortunately for Nick, where it becomes an issue is getting the priority.
Yeah. So he wants to get Vordry down. Full stop. He wants to get Vordry down anyway, but he needs to clear that.
But if Vordry doesn't die, this is the swing part of this game. Yeah, the pivot, as it's sometimes described. Yeah, because the momentum is currently for Sam, but in order to push the momentum back for Nikos, what he needs to do is needs to put Vordry in the dirt, and then put some more dirt on top of him, and then holy water, and then garlic cloves, garlic bread. Bring up dominoes and be like, how much garlic bread do you have?
Just give me all of it.
All of it.
We're going to pile it up.
Yeah, or maybe even make a coffin out of garlic bread, put Vordry in it.
Yeah.
Close the lid. Yeah. Cover it with
a ring of salt around it.
The whole thing. Yeah. Just into the earth. So
move it to France.
Is France a more holy place than the mortal
realm?
realm?
More garlic, I was thinking.
Move it to the realm of light. I reckon. Yeah. No dragon, no undead dragon wants to be in the realm of light. I'm almost certain.
Do you reckon that everybody in the realm of light have really good towns?
I reckon so. Yeah, more Mediterranean-esque, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I think that could be. That's true. Right. Okay. Will Vordry die? That's the big question. We'll go back to table 1. Yeah, and then we're going to come back to the gossip to see. We'll see. Right. So, we're now into the Skaven turn. That's what we're seeing. So
Tom's turn 2.
Tom's turn 2. So he's unbound his own. Oh, and he's given a jelly shot to Tom.
So the jelly shot is usually when a hero has gone down.
Yeah, but it hasn't worked. The jelly shot has not left the cup.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Not something I thought I'd be commentating on if I was on it.
That was a failed jello shot. That's a bit of a shame.
So what happened there? Lee attempted a jelly shot on Tom, and then Tom unbound it. In a very English way. Jelly shot, sir? No, thank you, sir. Tactical unbind.
No, I will not.
Importantly...
he did drink it.
So let's talk about what importantly didn't die in Lee's turn there. So he did kill the Corrupting, he did kill the Warpseer Vermin Lords, which is good.
Tom has dispelled the Vortex. The Vortex was right in the middle.
Because he's going to recast
it. So he's going to put it somewhere. Where do we think he's going to...
Up here, I imagine.
It's got to be top right, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's going to be up here. Maybe.
There's a lot of finger pointing going on the bottom left, though, isn't there?
Let's just quickly talk about what didn't die first. Yeah, because what didn't die on the bottom left-hand corner was the Deceiver, and who didn't die over on the right-hand side was Screech Vermin King. Now, the Vermin King also hasn't killed the Flayers in return, so he's going to be locked into that combat. So he's not really currently going to be impacting the game in a big way. Although, what Lee did send in. I'm almost certain he sent in his abhorrent Archregent, there because there's a gap where he was in that. I'll make a different colour because that might be easier to see. There's a gap here where he was there, he charged in, and I think that's what Screech Vermin King killed. So he put all of his attacks there.
Which is smart because of his Ferocious Hunger ability. The giving D3 attacks on all melee.
But what is going to be important in Tom's turn is because what's going to happen is there are 2 abhorrent Ghoul Kings. There's one here and there's one there. What's going to happen is they're going to swap. They're going to go to the different objectives, freeing up the big killers to go on a rampage. Now, what's going to happen is Tom's going to want to shut them down but he also then wants to shut down the big killers. So he just doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough keys to do it or undo all the locks, basically.
Okay.
There's just too many threats. That usually is what happens against gun lines. If you put enough stuff in front of a gun line, there are too many threats for him to deal with. Yeah. Now some people send stuff in waves, or they have army where something is faster than the rest of the army. So what they do is they commit the fast thing, that dies, and the slow thing catches up, then that dies.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Super Coco Django, thanks for subscribing.
Cool name,
yeah,
cool name.
Yeah, and we will try to keep up the good work. It really only works because you guys are watching and are joining us, so I want to say a big thank you to you guys watching. Let us know where you're watching from, all around the world. That's always cool. I know for a fact that the guys at the Sheffield Slaughter are super chuffed that they have viewers, international viewers, checking out the world's oldest fantasy event. They've got to be super happy about that.
Yeah. Super happy about super interaction. Super amazing place.
However, Tom's phase is still quite big in the hero phase because of the sheer volume of spells. We have seen the Arcane Vortex go down again. Sorry, the Warp Lightning Vortex. It's gone down again.
So he's going to be trying to block that swap that we were just talking about with the Ghoul King and the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist.
Yeah,
so he's seeing that coming. He just wants to pin him there. It's like, no, that's all you're at.
He's going to be doing D3 mortal wounds on a 2+. On a 6+, he's going to be doing D6 mortal wounds. But I don't think that's why he's doing it. What he's looking to do is make it so that he can't fly.
Yep.
I imagine you might also see shackles go down as well. And he might just want to pin him and just go. So he's done D3 mortal wounds. He's just added a bit. Now, while these guys do heal, dwellers below, thanks for subscribing. That's awesome. By the way, if you guys want to check out an amazing ATC Mob podcast in Australia, then you should listen to the Dwellers Below. Yeah, so really cool. Yeah. There's a man on there called Gentili who looks for that. Yeah, there's an entire meme around one of the presenters' faces.
Okay.
Yeah, where you see that face every single day. Yeah. And Nick, one of the show hosts, well, is probably one of the nicest and smartest gentlemen I've ever had the opportunity to speak to in the Warhammer community. So great show, totally worth listening to.
The Vortex. Just gone
sure
down
it's not
right
why
in
you
the middle.
subscribe, but
Exactly
a good shout out at the same time. Also, Mandollies, that guy, I love that guy. Yeah. Mandollies is a babe. Greetings from Sunday evening in Australia. Trying to go towards bed, that would mean work.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, don't do that. So the Vortex has just gone off. It's just killed that final clan rat, which I'm sure was causing Lee some issues. I think he was losing sleep over that. He's got a massive
Terrorgeist has gone down.
Oh!
Are you ready to see something? So what's going to happen is, so there's a really cool thing you can do. Now, the Frost Lord on Stonehorn, thank you so much, our input report there. The Frost Lord on Stonehorn is a absolute rocket. He's not a rocket, he's the opposite of a rocket, something else, a boulder, yeah, who just smashes through things. But what's really cool is you can just put a bunch of walls around him because he doesn't fly.
Yeah. This is in the Beastclaw Raiders army, is it?
It's a Beastclaw Raiders army, yeah. Right, but you can just put 3 shackles around his base, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah? Now, what Tom has done here, which is amazing, is he's put down shackles, and then he's put them around the dragon.
Are we sure? Because there's some swords down there, isn't there?
Oh.
I think it might just be the swords.
Oh, right.
Quicksilver swords are down there.
Tried to catch
and they've just done 4 mortal wounds. So shackles haven't gone down, but they are still certainly interesting to talk about.
I don't care. I was going to tell you a great story, but now I'm not interested. Whatever. I mean, Quicksilver Swords is excellent as well. Well done. Although, unless it comes back to bite him in the butt, and then goes back and does the mortal wounds, because it's worse against chaos. I said to Tom, I was like, are you not scared of Quicksilver Swords? Because it's worse against you. And he went, like, I would take Quicksilver Swords in any army other than a chaos army. It's a great.
I mean, he's gone 3-0.
I'm not saying he's a great player. Yeah, fantastic human being, and the army is one of my favourite army builds here, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still wouldn't take it. Yeah, and do you know what he can do? He can go on the internet and go, I disagree, Rob, and that's fine. So I'm comfy with the bait. Yeah, it's just my opinion, and if you guys disagree with me, then more love to you, more power to you. Yeah,
absolutely.
We're talking about more power.
Oh, yeah. His head's getting a bit bigger, isn't it?
If I was an Arch Warlock and I could reroll to hit and reroll to wound, the only unit I would buff would be the very buff, Mr. Adam Kunis, who will give you the infield reporting information right now.
Thanks, guys. That's very specific, but also quite lovely. So a lot of the tables have moved now into round 3, which is pretty exciting. But we've got our first game over, and it didn't even make it that far. Over on table 13, Nigel had his Zinch fighting against Brian with his mixed order with the high elf bolt throwers. The bolt throwers have just done it. Every single Zinch model is off the table, and the Dragon Lord managed to get the 1 extra point, meaning 3 extra points. So Brian 3, Nigel 1, but just absolute carnage. We talked a lot about shooting recently. It's still there, and it's still really good, particularly situationally when you're looking at these scenarios. Having to put your wizards and your characters with artifacts on the line in that way. -1 to hit from Lookout Sir just doesn't cut it when you're bringing that level of shooting. On table 11, a similar kind of situation between Paul and Declan, but the other way around. Paul Marshalsea, of course, there with his Ideneth Deepkin. Declan running around with his undead monsters, Vordry, Ethereal Amulet, Zombie Dragon as well. When I left the table, it was 6-0 to Paul. Declan's about to score and won the priority, but he just can't win. Due to the scenario and the way that it ticks up, the Eidolon isn't going anywhere. Paul's only got 3 models left. He's got a shark, he's got an Achillean King, and the Eidolon, and that's all he needs. So battle round 3, they're looking at kill points, and that's all over already on table 11. Looking at table 26 for a moment, Ben Cronin, Martin Clark, another extremely violent swinging game. In turn 3, Ben got that priority. He killed everything on the board except for Rotigus and 5 Warriors of Chaos. But all of Ben's characters are dead. And as I said before, Martin is able to summon a character with that Rotbringer or Plaguebringer, whatever that be, Maggotkin of Nurgle guy is called. He's going to be able to bring him up and be able to make all sorts of damage over there. Looking at John Green versus Tim Fisher. John won the priority going into 2. With all those squigs and grots to move, that's a bit of a slower game. John kept the priority because of a draw on the roll. I'm not sure if they're using squig dice this time. There's only 2 Boing Grot Bounders and 2 Squig Hoppers left in the centre after the 4 Celestar Ballistas went to town on them. The Loon Boss on Mangler Squig on the right flank for Tim went into the Evocators and completely and utterly whiffed. So the Evocators in response took him off the board. John's got his 20 Sequitors in the middle of the table into the other Mangler and the Loon Boss on Giant Cave Squig. It's super interesting there. I think John, though, with that firepower and with the multi-wound Stormcast, remember, is going to be a really hard force to shift over there. Alex versus Tony is really in the balance on table 10. Alex with his mixed order. Tony, as we saw yesterday with Flesh Eater Court, huge amounts of experience. Tony, the count more. Tony's 1 priority into 3, but at the end of the 3rd battle round, it's 5-4 to Alex. They traded Dragon Lords. The Dragon Lord went in first with his Dimensional Blade, killing the Terrorgeist from Tony's army, but using that command ability to attack after being killed. As we saw yesterday, he killed the Order Draconis Dragon Lord back in response. So, Steve Curtis and Mikey T on table 8. Terrorgeist's dead. Mike isn't scoring. Mike's won the priority, but he's really looking at kill points now. Steve's sitting there with that Zombie Dragon, Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, on the central objective. He's been holding it since the beginning of the game, and even with turn 4 priority going to Mike, there's just nothing he can do going forwards. With Dan versus Tom, that's all over as well. Everything has been murdered. Slanesh, amazing use of the Realm Command ability, giving you always strikes first there, effectively giving you a double pile-in, double attack before the Incantor and the Dracoline Evocators are able to do anything. The big mistake from Tom setting off the Incantor's mortal wound output spells, the thing before it dies, the activation there, killing the penultimate Dracoline. The Evocators are not a wizard. If there's only one model left, they can no longer score, and with the Evocator dead, all of the wizards in the Stormcast Eternal Army and all of the characters with artifacts are no longer on the board, and Dan able to use those points, summoning another greater demon of Slanesh, the Keeper of Secrets. The Keeper of Secrets and the Netter's already on the table. The Demonette's there. Didn't manage to kill a Knight Incantor. Sadly, he's not... sorry, not a Knight Incantor. A Heraldor in the middle of the table. But he's not scoring. So, as resilient as he may be, that's not going to change the tide in the favour of Tom there. What have we got left? I think all I have to talk about is the game just next to me here, between Ben and Andy, and another Flesh Eater Court versus Order game, which is Alex versus Tony. No, we've talked about already. So it's Ben versus Andy on table 1. Ben's won priority 3 and took it, but he thinks it's just too much work to do. He's expecting a minor win to go to Andy, but Andy needs to get in and kill a character in order to fight him off that objective and make it 7-all, and then a win on kill points to Andy. But we'll check that that's what happens. It seems pretty likely from here. I think that's pretty much all I've got to talk about there. Huge amounts of violence and slaughter, appropriately enough, here at the Davy Sporting Centre across Battle Rounds 2 and 3. So many of these games are over or as good as over. So I'm going to have to find something else to talk about next time I come back to you. Back to you guys on the tables. I really hope Lee Bromley's smashing Tom in. I'd love to come and find out what's happening from you guys, but let's go back to the stream.
Yeah, well, listen, huge violence everywhere. Absolutely. Thanks very much, Adam. So if you've just joined us, welcome back. This is Sheffield Sort of 2019. This is table 1. So both of these players, Tom and Lee, they have scored. They've won 3 games each. They're looking for their 4th win, potentially win the tournament. And what's really important is both players have got. Both players have got new battle tones, so really interesting. Lee had 2 Ghoul Kings on Terrorgeist, and then he also had another Terrorgeist. That was his list, and 2 lots of 10 Crypt Ghouls, some Abhorrent Ghoul Kings. Tom had 4 Vermin Lords, including Screech Vermin King, a Grey Seer, and 5 Endless Spells and a Warp Lightning Cannon. Now, what we're seeing on the tabletop is you can see in the first turn, Tom cast some spells. Lee gave the turn away to Tom. He cast some spells, and he pinned him back a little bit. And then, in response, Lee then went forward and then cleared out some of the chaff, and then won the priority roll into turn 2. And then in turn 2, he cleared out the Vermin Lord Worpseer and the Vermin Lord Corruption in the centre, and then claimed those objectives. Then the priority roll, and this is massive. Oh, just before that, sorry, at the end of Tom's turn, he cast Quicksilver Swords. It then did 4 mortal wounds from it, which was really impactful, which took Lee down to 3 mortal wounds left. 4 wounds left. 4 wounds left of his general who was here. Priority roll happened. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, he made 1/6 to save. I think that's the process, is what I'm trying to get at. Priority roll happened, and it went to Tom. Tom took the turn. Yeah. Quicksilver Swords went up and did 4 mortal wounds to the Warp Lightning Cannon, and as we've just seen, the ticking from the Endless Spell, so he rolled a 1 when he cast it last turn, did the final mortal wounds and killed his general.
It's actually an Arcane Bolt.
Oh no.
The insult of all insults.
Oh no. That actually has happened several times. Well, the Skaven keep ticking down mortal wounds and going Arcane Bolt to finish off a unit.
Just to scrub off that tiny last little bit.
Yeah. So in the bottom right hand corner there's a Vermin Lord Corruptor and the Vermin Lord Vermin Lord Deceiver. And the Vermin Lord Deceiver is still scoring this objective because he was treated out of combat against that Terrorgeist. The Terrorgeist can't threaten the objective. Yeah, so that's quite important. However, Tom's up 5-2, and Tom still has quite a lot of characters. In the bottom right-hand corner is Screech Vermin King, who fell out of combat. He hadn't killed the Archregent; he'd actually only killed a Flayer. So for Lee, he's got an Archregent a Ghoul King, another Ghoul King, and he has another Ghoul King on top of a Terrorgeist holding that objective at the top. For Lee, sorry, that was for Lee and for the Flesh Eater Courts. For Tom, he has Screech Vermin King. On the left-hand side, he has the Corruptor, and at the top, he has the Greyseer. And in the Warp Hole, he had the Greyseer, which is currently there's a piece of paper over it, so I couldn't find it. Yeah, there we go. Maybe we can get some of the dead stuff off the board, and then maybe we can get some of the dead stuff off the board. But so it's all to play for, but I feel like just based on the amount that's left on the board, Lee's in the commanding position.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. It's even though the scores on the doors as it is, the scores that you're seeing on the screen at the moment are not necessarily telling the story of how the game is going to be turning out, because there is such little opportunity and such little flexibility in what Tom's got left to be able to do anything about what's there. All Tom can do is hopefully to whittle down and hold off using, because that Warp Lightning Cannon at the top is still a big deal, right?
So he's got 4 wounds left, and he could kill himself, potentially, which is always quite fun. But what is important, yeah, you're right. So as long as he can deal with the Terrorgeist, at the bottom, with his Verminlord Deceiver, so effectively you've kind of got like a mirror match between the Deceiver at the bottom, who's a little bit untouchable, and at the top you have the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, who is a little bit untouchable. The only swing factor in that is, as you say, this Warp Lightning Cannon, and finally is Mr. Screech Vermin King himself. Yeah, because if the Warp Lightning Cannon doesn't die, then what he's going to be able to do is he's going to be able to take out that Ghoul King and then eventually that Ghoul King as they try to claim that objective. But Screech Vermin King is a kind of a big choice, and the Archregent as well. But getting the movement to get over, that's going to be key. Now,
seen the move.
So he has moved, and what you're going to find he's going to do here, skittily from the Verminlord Deceiver, is a 26-inch range. Now, it's not going to affect this turn, but when he eventually does, he's going to be able to skittily at Screech Vermin King and potentially put him in play effectively, get him involved in the fight. So those are the kind of like manoeuvres that could occur. The problem is, getting rid of Screech Vermin King is there isn't lots Lee has left that can deal with him.
Right, okay.
Because the thing that can deal with him is sat up there holding an objective.
And he has to stay there. But you've got a Abhorrent Ghoul King on the way to potentially swap, right? As we were showing out. So this here, is this a Ghoul King?
Yes.
Down there. So he's potentially looking to swap there. So that this Ghoul King can go and go on a little bit of a rampage, like you were saying earlier. And try and take out those big threats.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam, I think you have the battle plan up for this. We've got a question in the chat worth having a look at. If you retreat, you can't hold an objective. Now, the players have obviously agreed to that. When they do things like that, I'm going to retreat. Yeah, that's cool. You hold the objective. They make the agreement. But we will double check that. Or if you can quote it in the chat, it's always good to know. So
it is as long as the normal rules for controlling objective are not used in this battle. So instead, a player controls an objective if a friendly hero with an artifact or power, so we know that, or a wizard, is within 3 inches of the objective at the end of any type of move, apart from a retreat. So that retreat means he's not holding that bottom left objective.
However, the players have agreed to it. That's always the thing that's impacting the game. So he finishes a move in the new turn. So he retreats in one turn, and then starts a new turn, moving within range. Does that make sense?
But
so he didn't.
He retreated, so he then doesn't hold it.
Didn't score it.
So that means that.
No, that's right. That's cool. That's right. Well, they've done it right on the table. We've got the information right.
Excellent.
There we go. So good work. Our table boss, Nathan Prescott, Press on Prescott, who allows no deviation from battle plans, is there.
There's plenty of deviation in loads of other areas.
Every other area. That's if anything, that's his main job. He derails every conversation apart from battle plan conversations.
Absolutely.
They're the safe places.
Yeah, that's his niche. And what would be really interesting if we can cut to Nikos's game, because there has been quite a big development there, and you'll see a big hole top right hand corner.
Woohoo!
And it's also revealed how many more of those what are the No, hashtag know
It's
the
okay,
name.
no problem. Just tell me. What are you after?
I'm just going to whisper. What are these guys called?
Okay, so some people call them Razordons.
Razordons.
Yeah, but they've got many a name. Star Warriors. Yeah.
Heroes.
Yeah.
So Vordry is down. And
Massive.
what we saw earlier, which looks like it's already moved, we saw a summoned wizard down here.
Not Terry the Troglodon. Did you see you summoned a Troglodon yesterday?
I didn't see that.
So what's really now, Adam? I know that you're not 100% au fait with the power levels of some of the units and some of the armies.
Right.
Now, what's a little bit broken about Seraphon is if they get enough summoning points, they can summon a Troglodon.
Right. Tell me
Yeah.
about Troglodon. Is that big news?
Devastating.
Yeah?
Absolutely devastating. So a Troglodon's got the capacity to fire D3 shots. Yeah. At 18 inches, it hits on 3s, it wounds on 3s, it has no rend, yeah, and it does 2 damage.
Oof.
Absolutely, like they can take out at some points maybe 2 skeletons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That sounds overpowered.
overwhelmingly
as hell.
devastating.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can't wait for the General's Handbook to nerf that to high heaven.
Yeah.
So anyway, getting back. So the wizard was summoned in here
Yeah.
with the idea that
Not the
it would be-
Troglodon, that's
not
key.
the Troglodon.
Right,
so Terry,
okay.
unfortunately, he's sat out. He's just making his chocolate oranges.
Well, Nikos
He's
didn't
working
want to
on
bring
that.
the power game. That's the problem.
He's got to back down a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, look, I just want it to happen. But
So
yeah.
what he did is he teleported up here. So he's one of these guys up here.
Nice.
Is
A little skink star priest hiding amongst the other fellas. There you
right.
go. Yeah.
So Nick planned that a turn or two ago.
It's exactly like when Hornblower put on a French outfit to try to get through the Spanish Navy in
Probably.
season 1.
Right. Okay.
Exactly like that.
Great.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
a better one would be when Frodo and the fellas dressed up like orcs to try to get to Mordor.
More relevant.
More
Great.
relevant. More relevant.
target
You're telling me
audience
Hornblower
friendly.
isn't a relevant reference?
Nope. So, and also we were seeing Sam. Sam is a little bit head in hands at the moment. He was admitting that he's out of ideas. So he's very, very much feeling on the back foot as well as being on the back foot right now.
Yeah. Well, so we're going to get a points update because this is only the end of turn 2.
Yep.
Which is quite impactful. But yeah, Vordry being dead and then the scoring there also means the Gash has slowly gone by defense and depth screams, so he is eventually going to come and grab this. Now, it all matters about where the Necromancer is. Yeah? So wherever the Necromancer is on the board is going to be quite important for scoring the centre objective, because that priest at the top now is effectively unassailable. However, Nagash also can't move off this objective, because if he does, a cheeky Slan will whip over and go grab it, which I think is...
But also, this this is a Star Priest down here, right?
Yeah.
So I would
But
assume...
he's about to be smoten. Now listen, I love Star Priest as much as the next man, but the Star Priest versus the God of Death? No. I mean, an Aboriginal Gore King
could be
versus
the
the
little-
God of Death? No problem. No
Could be
problem.
the Star Priest that could, though.
Listen, I'm all for. I have to be the realist though. You're the guy in this commentary pair. You're the one who can be like, I hope a Star Priest can take out Nagash. I'm the one who has to kind of just go. Facts are.
No, I believe in the Star Priest. I believe in the
believe in the
power
Star Priest?
of the Lizardmen.
All right, okay. The Lizard Men.
The Lizardmen.
The Lizard Men.
Well, it's Lizardmen, look. It's on the screen right for you. They're not Seraphon, they're Lizardmen.
They are.
Because
Lizard Men.
Nikos is not in Age of Sigmar 2, and I know they were called Seraphon in Age of Sigmar 1.
Yeah.
But Nikos is just a bit old school.
Yeah. I think I might have missed something in the throw of units activating multiple times. Yeah. So don't worry. The guys didn't. Oh wait, is the engine back? So the engine died.
Maybe summon them again.
No. Oh,
Did he
wow,
teleport?
Okay. Well, the engine's back, which is quite exciting. Oh, the hall's gone really quiet now. I'm
has.
quite conscious of my voice. But yeah.
I don't think that's ever been true.
I feel like this is Nick's game. As you can see, the score is currently 3-3. However, with Vordry dead, yeah, he's in a very tough spot.
He's very, very tough.
Again, find out where the Necromancer is in this objective would be important. Nagash eventually will be able to hold the bottom objective, but what you're seeing is the difference between the Seraphon being able to create new units, especially scoring units, by being able to summon wizards, versus Nagash's ability to bring back whole units to fight and play with, but not summon relevant tactical units. So he can replenish, but not bring forward like oh, I need a wizard now. Done. I need a Troglodon now. Done.
Terry.
Terry!
Terry.
Terry! The big Trogo. That's what we're seeing. And we'll find out the info. Let's go back to table 1 though. As we watch Nikos's journey. Oh, Anonymous.
Anonymous is subscribed.
Not the Anonymous.
The one that wrote all the poems.
Yeah, we've done nothing, Anonymous. Leave us alone. We're just nerds like you. We like Warhammer, and you like bringing down governments. Yeah? No, that's good. Yeah, you do that, and we'll stick to what we do.
Yeah, but why are they here?
Because they like Warhammer.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
That's why everyone's here. That's why everyone's here, and occasionally 2 people, I imagine, are here to watch you. And listen to you talk.
I'd like to think so. Hi, Mum.
Right, so back on the tabletop now for table 1, and you've seen Screech has moved over here. Oh wow, a big. What Lee's decided to do is just throw his tape measure at Screech Birmingham.
Rather than roll dice, he's rolling his tape measure.
Screw you.
Yeah.
Screw you. Now, unfortunately, he needs to.
So the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist has got run and charge now.
So we're into Lee's turn.
Yeah, we must be. We are in Lee's turn. We've seen Lee rolling all the dice.
I don't think there's the Terrorgeist is still going to go and smash the Deceiver.
Yep.
I think at the bottom left-hand corner. I think that's going to be the thing. I don't think Tom can pull it back actually, because he didn't deal. I'm surprised he didn't charge in and just go for it. Just go for the fight and try and kill it.
He'll be holding that bottom left objective though, when he Tom.
But
he'll have dropped it in the one turn.
But it doesn't matter if he's dead the next turn.
That's true.
I'm talking about the turn after. So he really should have attacked it and killed it. I don't think there's a plan beyond it. I would be surprised if we don't see the Terrorgeist go forward and just punch him to death. That would shock me, I think, at this stage. And I don't think there's anything he can do. He is -1 to be hit. Which is a thing, I guess. I'm not really sure.
Looks like we're doing some spells, and we're seeing whether we can reach to dispel or to unbind. To unbind. Deny the witch.
Yeah,
if you're a 40k player.
Yes. He potentially is looking. He's just looking to add D3 attacks. I don't think that's what he's going to be doing though. So he may be going for Mystic Shield. He may be going for. We'll find out what he is trying to cast from the tabletop. But I feel like this is Lee's game.
So Mystic Shield has failed.
Yeah.
So that was obviously what he was trying to do. Yeah.
I personally think this is. I'm going to say this is Lee's game. Realistically, that's what I think he's going to do. Just because what's interesting about this game is very little movement. It's like 2 shooting. It's like watching 40k because there's so many casting values on both armies. You still got Lee, who's got 6 casting values, versus Tom. Tom, who's got 6 casting values, versus Lee, who still has 1 here, and then he's got 2 from the Arc region, and then 1 from each of the Ghoul Kings. Yeah, so he's still rocking 5. So 5-6. Originally it started at 10-6.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one down there, actually. Oh no, yeah, I counted that in. Yeah, 6-5.
Yeah. So we look like the Flayers are chasing after Screech.
Yeah, I want to give him a kick in.
Just like, get back here.
And I think what Lee has smartly done is decided to actually get his Ghoul King involved in scoring as opposed to insanely charging. I did go up and ask at the tabletop. I was like, did the Screech Vermin King not target the Ghoul King? He went, no. No, he did. I did, but I failed. So I was like, that was the right decision. He should have just smoked him.
Yeah. So he tried.
He tried. It just didn't work. Yeah.
Wow.
So Lee got away with that one. I'm gonna have to say.
Like it.
I'll charge him in. I'll attack him. Oh, hold on. I've made some mistakes. Oh, he's safe.
Maybe he defiantly rolled his saves.
Maybe. Yeah. He made no saves. He just fluffed the attacks. Yeah.
It was something to say.
So he's going to go on the rampage.
Yeah.
So he's going to swap out. I think he's going to put the Ghoul King there. It's interesting that he hasn't yet. Oh wait, no, he is. Don't worry. So the other big swing threat in this army that we talked about is Adam.
There's some ghouls.
No, but what's here?
That's a warp lightning cannon.
And we want to shut down its shooting, don't we?
Yep.
We want to stop it from doing the damage. So we're going here for a cheeky ghoul charge.
Oh, another ghoul charge.
The ghouls are going in. So there we see the Abhorrent Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, who's not the general. The general is dead. and he has decided to move into that. And so he's still gonna score over here with the Ghoul King. There we go. So you'll measure that. So a little bit more movement. So he's now going to take this character. I'm pretty certain.
Okay, so there is. So we're just getting some updates from the table. We've got some technical issues, which means we're not getting direct feed anymore. So we're going back to manual. We've just had a fax through from Nathan.
Yeah.
So
digital information relay.
And what was that update, Rob?
So there is a Gracie here in the centre who's skitterleaped. So earlier on, when there was a page, on top of the warp hole, I was like, "Where's the Gracie here?" It turns out he's skitterleaped to here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which meant he then scored, so he scored in this turn. So this Vampire on Zombie Dragon. No. Sometimes I don't have to say that as much anymore. Ghoul King on Terror, guys. Ghoul King, GKOT.
GCOT.
Yeah, the GCOT. Thank you. We've coined that term. So the GCOT is after the Gracie, so he's gonna whomp him. The chances of that Gracie surviving are
highly
0,
unlikely.
unless he doesn't make the charge. If he doesn't make the charge, then he's alive.
It looks like a 6-inch charge. Does the vortex affect that? Will the vortex affect his charge at all?
No.
No? Okay.
It just because it should be fine. It should be fine.
And there's no movement blocking the
no, he's just going to get the charge
happen.
and then punch him. And in the bottom, as you can see, he has also charged the Vermin Lord. He is Deceiver. That's correct. His name was deceiving me. Now, what's important, I can't stress this enough, is the Deceiver should die, and he should activate the Deceiver first. Whether or not that just has to be key. I don't think he's made the charge. Oh, there we go. I think we're seeing the charge now into the Grey Seer.
So the Deceiver's just taken a wound from the screen.
Nice, a bit of shooting.
Yeah.
Shooting still happens, right?
Yeah, we love a shooting phase. So now we're looks like we've had a charge by the Flayers at the bottom, just down the bottom here. That charge paid off, and he's pulled them all the way around to this side.
Nice. So there's a lot of activations happening here, which I think is quite interesting. What's cool is he's going to just activate. If he does charge the Grey Seer, he's just going to get to activate before he has to make any other decisions. So it'll be Grey Seer first, nice, and doing a big move to make sure he gets him. And Dwellers Below are just asking a question. Don't worry, he didn't score when he set up. I think he was just hoping to. Unfortunately for Tom, and I think he's playing it really well, he tried to put loads of threats in loads of places, but just the sheer output of those Ghoul Kings on Terror guys, they're just like, I'm going to kill this now, and they're like, I'm going to kill this now. Like it's not really a dice game. It's I'm going to do the job.
It's which first.
Huh?
It's not. Do I think I can kill this? I might try and kill it. No, that's going first.
Yep.
Next, that one.
Yeah.
So it's also the vortex roll was a 1, so it didn't do anything. So Lee got away with that.
Yeah. So while we see these combats happen, which and also clever use of the ghouls there, locking in. So he can't retreat.
He can't run away.
So he can't run away. The Deceiver. So that's good for activations and making sure that's good. Unfortunately, I don't think he's got the. Oh no, we may be still seeing the charge at the top to get the ghoul. No.
Oh, we're
there we go.
On the right.
Ghouls on the right.
What are they on the right then? There's more, just a few stragglers.
Yeah, a couple of scraggly rats.
Straggling rats.
A couple of scraggly rats. But the big charge, which I'm not certain happened, would be the ghouls into the Warp Lightning Camp.
Yeah.
So while those combats happen, and we'll go find out all the details in a minute, we're going to find out what's been happening in the rest of the tournament, as almost all the games are finished apart from our stream games. And we're going to go to the wonderful Mr. Adam Kunis right now.
Thanks very much, guys. And yeah, we're pretty much done on all bar one of the 8 games I was following. Surprisingly enough, that game that continues is the one with Gloomspike Gits. There are just so many models to move, and both armies, both John's Stormcast Eternals and Tim's Gloomspike Gits, are pretty soft, so they're not going to be happily sitting on those objectives, particularly with that Loon Boss on Mangler gone already. So we've got some games finished. We thought that Andy was going to pit Ben Johnson on the real table one, but actually Ben's managed to pull it back there by being able to keep the two most extreme flank objectives under the control of small characters while there's a big fight going on in the middle. Andy did actually table him. I'm going to bring Andy over in just a moment to have a chat about how he thinks Flesh Eater Court's going to sit going forwards, because obviously we've seen a lot of them so far. Over on table 17 with Dan and his Eels against Tom's Stormcast Eternals, Dan has tabled him, and it's gone big on summoning. 500 points summoned over the game, with 15 depravity points left at the end. So make of that what you will. Slanesh is super, super strong here. Another tabling on table 8. Steve Curtis has taken Mike T off, even though he ran away in order to preserve the kill points. He's gone after them, and he's got them. Tony Moore has taken Alex down with some turn activation priority potential shenanigans going on with the Realm of Light command ability and Doppelganger Cloak in there, and the Flesh Eater Court's natural ability, making some really interesting instances there. I think there's an FAQ that needed to look at, because I think in Alex's turn he should be controlling it, but the players rolled a 4-up and ruled on the table. The Flesh Eater Court's demolished the Forces of Order there. We already know that the game with Nigel and Brian is over, but over on table 26, Martin Clark, who we thought was going to get tabled but win because Rotigus was around longer, he's killed all of Ben's characters, and he's lost everything except for Rotigus, summoned a Poxbringer, and between Rotigus and the Poxbringer, he's tabled Ben Cronin's Beast of Chaos and kept those scoring characters alive for the win. And our other match, Paul has managed to keep just the Eidolon alive, but the ticking up versus Declan means that the Deepkin have won there. And if he's got a moment, I'm just going to bring Andy Hughes over to have a little chat to us about what was going on table 1 against Ben Johnson and his Flesh Eater Courts. So, Andy.
Hello, I'm good. You?
Yeah, very well, thank you. So, just tell us a little bit about your list, first of all.
So, it's Archon, Neferata, Necromancer, 10 dogs, 5 dogs, 5 dogs, 30 Reapers, and then Cogs, Palisade, and Geminids. And 80 points under, so fishing for that triumph.
Wow, so you're not only getting an extra command point there, but you're likely to be getting reroll hit, wounds, or saves at some point there. If you don't know too much about Death, there is a huge amount of debuffing going on in that list, not only with, Fading Vigor and Overwhelming Dread?
Yep, that's the two. So looking to cast them on a 9+, they go off twice. Then you throw Neferata's command ability on there twice. You throw Geminids out. Palisade on a 5+ is another -1. Technically, I think you can do about a -6 to hit on a unit if you really need to. Or you can just spread it around and just do minuses everywhere, minus attacks as well.
So it seems from certainly my perspective that the idea against Flesh Eater Courts there is if they don't have any attacks left, they can't kill you.
Exactly, yeah. So the Terrorgeist, if you do -2 attacks on them, the Maw is only 1 attack. Piles in twice, it does 2 attacks. It's not as scary, it's not 6 attacks, so it's not that bad at all.
And so you're obviously in Grand Alliance Death yourself, so you've also got that mortal wound redundancy to an extent. Is immunity to Rend still a thing with Neferata?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it's nice casting her spell on Archon and then doing Cogs for reroll saves, and you've got him flying around as your general, ethereal rerolling saves.
Because certainly in my experience of Arcane, he gets killed to a light breeze, so being able to make immune to Rend and re-rolling is pretty high, right?
Yeah,
right.
Pretty solid.
So you were saying you don't think Flesh Eater Courts are all that, and looking around the room, the evidence, certainly from the Sheffield Slaughter 2019, is that Flesh Eater Courts are the shit. But you think not, and as a Death player, you'd be well positioned to have that opinion. Can you just talk me through why you don't think they're going to be where we're seeing them today in the coming months?
So I think they're the new thing. Same as when the Nighthaunt came out, they won the tournaments immediately afterwards. I think once people start realizing you can debuff them down, they're not as scary as they seem. There's very few models on the table if someone's running the 4 Terrorgeists.
Yeah.
So anything that's most models to capture, if you can stop their attacks, you'll beat them on objectives. And I think table Ben's army on that one. I just couldn't quite get to the 2 most extreme objectives. But
not in time to stop the ticking up.
Yeah, exactly. But again, killed everything by turn 5. So I think there's something there. I think you just got to debuff them, and I think you'll take them down.
I mean, if you'd managed to win a priority at any point there, we got 5 battle rounds in a row with Ben Johnson going first, and Flesh Eater Courts are essentially going first anyway. That's not going to be easy. Would you have changed anything about the way you played, or do you think it was just that luck on priority that did it for you?
Yeah, it was the priority luck, so it meant he was scoring. He scored in turn 3. If I had won the priority, I would have scored 2 points in that turn, and then it would have reduced him from scoring 2 and only scored 1, and then I could have beat him by just holding my objectives and not trying to push for his third one, which I had to do. I had to make an 8-inch charge to take the last objective and failed it, unfortunately.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, thanks very much for coming on, Andy. Have you had your lunch yet?
No.
All right, well, go and join that short queue, and good luck in the 5th round. So you've heard it here. Feck aren't going to stick around for long. There's better stuff in death. We're going to rejoin now our main 2 tables, and I might bring you another interview if they seem like they're going on. But for now, back to Rob and back to Adam. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, Adam. Appreciate that. So look, back at table 1 with Sheffield Slaughter 2019, and we are in the final turn of round 3. It's Skaven versus Flesh Eater Courts, and it's been really impactful. As you guys have seen in the first turn, Skaven cast a lot of endless spells, tried to shut down Lee's movement. Lee then moved forward, and the objectives here were controlled by Vermin Lords, and they're now dead. Yeah, well, there were 2 of the 4 initials. Then, in response, what happened was a lot of mortal wounds from spells and other stuff, and one Ghoul King on a Terrorgeist died in the centre. A Greyseer skitterleaped and tried to hold an objective, but it doesn't score because of priorities and stuff. Don't get confused by what I'm saying. Effectively, Tom was making some plays. The big takeaways from lots of these games, though, is constantly Lee has been charging into these characters, and they've been running away because of their ability.
Yep.
Yeah, and they've been falling out of combat, which has been quite useful. Now, that meant that they haven't scored, and as you can see, the score now is 9-4 to Tom. But it's going to be, and that's because of at the bottom this Vermin Lord Deceiver. What he's been doing is been camped there, kind of running off and then onto objectives. Screech Vermin King is still alive. The Greyseer is still alive because he also ran away. So that's
coward.
I know that's 400 points of Ghoul King on Terrorgeist that just hasn't done any damage. And had the general not died, it would have been fine, but this isn't the general, so he doesn't get to activate and go first. Also, the Vermin Lord Deceiver on the bottom hasn't died to this Terrorgeist, and the Terrorgeist is nearly dead. If that ends up going Tom's way, he potentially, well, the priority has already happened, I'm pretty certain.
Just happening right now. Right now, the priority roll
has already happened for turn 4. And it's priority roll right now. This is it.
Live.
And the pink is Tom, and black is Lee. It's going into a cup. So this probably decides... Oh, this decides the game, or doesn't decide the game. It's time's been called in the room, so it's dice down.
That might be it.
So because both rounds have just been finished,
yep.
Yeah, that's where you'd end it. So it looks like it's going to be a win for Tom, based on the points. Had it gone on, I'm almost certain it would have been Lee's, but it's down to both players to finish their rounds. If they don't finish them, then they don't finish them.
And
right?
They haven't yet done the priority. Oh, they're doing the priority roll right now. They're doing it anyway.
Maybe they're being gentlemen. Now, the sporting thing to do, because what Tom can do is say, I'm up, I win the game.
Yeah.
The sporting thing to do, work out what they think is going to happen. Yeah. Or just, I mean, both of them are sporting thing.
Oh, that's it. That's it. They've done it. This is.
Right, so thank you very much. So the dice roll, this is really exciting. You can come back to us actually if you want. There we go. So what was really exciting was the dice roll for priority. They both rolled a 6. Because Lee had just had the turn. That meant that it automatically went to Tom. Tom then camps enough objectives that his lead is unassailable, an unassailable lead, and that means that they agreed to shake hands and it was over. So, I mean, that's massive, really. So, what an amazing list and a really great game.
4 Vermin Lords.
4 Vermin Lords, 5 endless spells.
4 lots of filth. Plus 5 more lots of filth.
I'm going to do some dice. Well, there were no pestilence on the board, so it was no filthy stuff.
It's not that gross.
But 5 endless spells, 10 casting values, 4 Vermin Lords. There's a Greyseer as well.
Yeah.
Clan Rats and the Warp Lightning Cannon. So really just bringing the magic home. And what's really important with the Skaven is the Warp Holes. They give you that +1 to cast, +1 to unbind, and they've got so many ways of Greyseer can do the 3d6. You could have re-rollable casting if you've got some warlocks. So there's some really interesting, and Tom's utilised that. For me, it's the most exciting list here.
What, Tom's list?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because he's maxed it out.
Yeah, you can see.
He's seen what he wants.
It would be really cool to have a talk with Lee at some point, but when he was just doing so many things. The way he move blocked with Skaven Tide, to stop the Ghoul King and Terror guys going into the centre, possibly won the game.
Because he delayed it by
1 turn.
Yeah, that's all he needed to do.
That's all he needed to do. So that's really incredible, and it's quite a cheap spell as well to win a game.
Yeah.
You talk about skinks, or you talk about Camo Skinks, or you talk about Kinrian Heartrenders, or a bunch of different units that win games by being cheap and just going and getting an objective, stopping units from moving and doing stuff, especially when they're 400-point units. Let's look at Nikos's game. If we can go to table 2 real quick, John, and we can talk about that because that was actually quite important.
So it's 7-all, and it has finished 7-all. They're now just working out.
The point I want to make is down this bottom there was a Skink Star Priest who held this objective for most of the game, and then all he did was create chaff lines to stop this 800-point Nagash from going and scoring, right? And that's only we'll get a result at that after, but you can come back to us. The only point I was trying to make is when you have got large investiture in points in large models for scoring that many objectives, they need to be doing stuff all the time. Again, key mechanic, which I think was excellent watching Tom play, was having his characters in combat and then just running away from objectives. And just being and then that 400 points for moving and charging was just wasted. So if anything, Nikos's list is kind of an evasion shooting list. Tom's list, which may be the first time we've seen it, is a kind of move blocking, evasion, magic mortal.
It really focuses on using the endless spells the way he was doing it. You're creating area of denial and that movement blocking. Right?
His army is a bit like looking for your toothbrush with all the lights off. You just keep banging your toe and you knock your head, and you fall over something. It just disorientates you realistically, and it just looked really fun to play. I loved watching that game. It was great.
No, that was absolutely fantastic. We have just heard that Nick did get a minor win. So they've just totted up basically on kill points, and Nikos has taken down enough. He gets the minor.
Gets the minor win. So on the draw, really exciting. Okay, well we're gonna end this round here. We're gonna end this round here for you guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. We're coming back with our final round, and there's definitely a Flesh Eater Corpse player and a Skaven player who can win the event.
Yeah, at least.
So the Battle Tomes, that's the story from the weekend. They potentially can win the tournament, which is really important. Beast of Chaos may also win the tournament. Yeah, a little bit of a dark horse there, or a dark beast.
A dark beast.
Your choice.
Filthy beast.
But thanks for joining us. Don't forget to join us again in an hour or so, where we'll be live. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's been a really great event. Adam, thanks for all the coverage.
I've had fun.
Thank you to Adam Kunis doing your job. He did great, didn't he?
He did amazing. I may as well go home now. I'm finished.
Thank you to Nathan doing the table bossing, and also thanks to John. We'll see you guys soon, and have a great day.